warm and dry, high 83 with limited sunshine. Cloudy at times tonight, very mild, overnight low 65. Tomorrow, election day, partial sunshine, high in the low to mid 80s. Risk of scattered showers holding off, I think, till after midnight on Tuesday night. Then scattered showers at times Wednesday and Thursday. Boy, we need the raindrops. Still warm, high in the low 80s. From the Blue Water Weather Center, this is Rich Thomas.
For the lowest prices around on flooring and DIY flooring installation supplies, Budget Floors and More is your new best friend. Luxury vinyl plank, carpet, ceramic tile, floor installation supplies, and more with prices lower than the big box stores. Budget Floors and More, Hunter Lane across from Del Rey Publix.
1819 News.
Governor Ivey had a medical event while at a campaign rally for Republican Caroline Dobson. That campaign event was held in Pike Road at the Sweet Creek Farm Market. Governor Ivey experienced some dehydration and was given fluids on site, which resulted in an immediate improvement to the governor's condition. The governor's spokeswoman, Gina Miola, says the governor was never at any time transported to a hospital, as was rumored. I'll be back with more Alabama stories after this.
I'm Amy Beth Shaver with Alabama Unfiltered Radio, and when I need the news and I need it fast, I turn to Andrea Tice and the Daily Detail. On my way in, it is the most convenient, best way for me to digest what's going on so that I can use it for our show. She tells you what's going on in Alabama that day first and fast. So listen to the Daily Detail with Andrea Tice. Don't miss out.
The Daily Detail is available wherever podcasts are found.
A fifth person has been arrested in Mobile regarding the shooting death of a 9-year-old girl while she was sleeping at her home in December of 2023. The fifth person charged in this street shooting had to be extradited from Texas to Alabama in order to face charges. That person is a 17-year-old girl. Mobile County District Attorney Keith Blackwood says the 17-year-old is being charged as an accessory to the murder. All 5 defendants have now been indicted by a grand jury in the death of Kaylee Knight. Residents of Coleman County will be voting this Tuesday on whether to add a 15% local tax on medical cannabis products. That proposed local amendment would take 67% of the tax revenue and send it to the district attorney's office in order to hire more prosecutors, with the remainder going to the Coleman County Legislative Delegation for addressing mental health issues. And the Muscle Shoals community held a fundraiser this weekend for teenager Isaiah Lopez. He's undergoing treatment for a rare form of leukemia. Lopez was in remission, but has recently found out that the cancer is back. I'm Andrea Tice.
For more news affecting Alabamians, go to 1819news.com. And while you're there, subscribe to the daily newsletter.
I'm still going for it, even with higher stroke risk from atrial fibrillation, an irregular heartbeat not caused by a heart valve problem. Over a 3-year study, Eliquis apixaban tablets reduced stroke risk better than warfarin, and over 97% of Eliquis patients did not experience a stroke. A first stroke occurred in 2.9% of warfarin patients versus 2.3% of Eliquis patients.
Don't stop taking prescription Eliquis without asking your doctor. It may increase your stroke risk. Eliquis can cause serious and in rare cases fatal bleeding. Don't take Eliquis if you have an artificial heart valve, abnormal bleeding, or antiphospholipid syndrome. While taking, you may bruise more easily or take longer for bleeding to stop. A spinal injection while on Eliquis increases risk of blood clots, which may cause paralysis, the inability to move. Get medical help right away for unexpected bleeding, unusual bruising, or tingling, numbness, or muscle weakness. Medications such as aspirin products, NSAIDs, SSRIs, SNRIs, and blood thinners may increase bleeding risk. Tell your doctor about all planned medical or dental procedures. Learn more at Eliquis.com or call 1-855-ELIQUIS.
The views and opinions of the following program are solely those of the host and other contributors. These do not necessarily represent those of Liberty Acquisitions 825, Blue Water Broadcasting, its management, staff, or any advertisers. It's time for Montgomery's conversational radio show. It's news and views on News Talk 93.1 FM. To join the conversation, call 272-9228.
Joey Clark.
Welcome. This should be a heck of a week. You know, I've been telling folks off air that on Wednesday, I'm either going to have most of our audience over the moon and joyful, like dancing in the streets, if we actually have a result on Tuesday night. Or I'm going to be on suicide watch and listening to folks start talking about Civil War and all this stuff. Oh, yeah, sure. Make sure to bring your diabetes medication to the front lines. Goodness gracious. So I hope it's a Trump win just for my own sanity. But I have no clue. There are so many different moving factors. We were talking about it off air. Eddie Bader, of course, in the studio. How you doing, Eddie?
Doing good. How you doing, Joe?
I'm all right. How you're wearing your Blueprint shirt today?
Yeah, I've got some business to do afterwards.
Oh, okay. That's what you wear for business?
Sometimes, yeah.
Okay.
Comfortable business.
And returning back to the show, we have Joe Reed. Hey, Joe, how you doing?
Joe, how are you doing?
I'm all right. And are you still chairman of the Montgomery County Democrats?
I am. The Democratic Conference, yes.
Oh, cool. Very cool. So we've got a lot of, angles we could go at today. But first, how are y'all feeling about tomorrow? Like when you, Joe, you look at all the jabbering out there, all the predictions being made, what's your sense of this thing?
I think it depends what room you're in. You know, if you're in a figures room, I think you're optimistic and cautiously optimistic. I think if you're in a Dobson room, you're probably the same way.
Yeah.
So I think everybody probably feels, good. I don't think it's because the district is not tilted to, push one candidate or it's a foregone conclusion for one political party versus another. This one is very, very close. So it requires work.
Well, and I hope at least we get a result. If we have another where it takes a week, that's not good for anybody.
No, and look, my thing, I'm really disappointed that we don't really have early voting here. And just for the record, Joey, back in 1992, I came up with the first 4-team playoff before it was popular. Okay, I'm just gonna let you know that. I put it on a piece of notebook paper, just so y'all know that. All right,
you're the first.
I was the first to do that.
Okay.
I don't get credit for it. I'll tell you what else I did. I was actually a beta tester for, you ready, Electronic Arts and John Madden football.
Ooh,
before it went national.
Really?
We had a tournament at Morehouse College. We had a tournament. Me and a bunch of guys. We met these guys. We got some EA Sports, and that Madden tournament first started in Atlanta. That would have been 1990, but nobody knew. At Taco Mac, Buffalo Wings.
I
what happened.
I tore up some Madden every year. I was waiting for the new Madden to come out.
We all were, and I know it was a long way around a whole bunch of stuff. But getting where I'm saying is that early voting, we've already got probate courts open every day. Why don't we just start early voting? Because election day used to be where people had to travel.
Mm.
So you needed to have that one day, when we were just basically a rural country, not where we are right now. So everyone knew what election day was. It's this day. You kind of know, mark your calendar, prepare yourself, and go.
Mm.
We were a small country then. We are well over 300 million people. I don't mind tabulating the election results, but people ought to be able to come on in earlier and just cast their vote like you would get your license. Put it in a safe deposit box and just wait on it. I don't see why that's that hard.
I'm kind of a fan of the old school, and only in this sense, it's not like a hard fast position. It's more, I do like that everybody is voting on the same day, in the sense that, God forbid, something like, say you vote a week or two early, and then something crazy happens, and you're like, I want to change it. And
that's
so
good.
I like that everybody's sort of watching, though nobody's watching the same movie. We're all looking at the same screens, not seeing the same movie. But there's something about that principle of everybody on the same day getting out there. I would be all for making it a national holiday, put it on the weekend.
Me too.
These
Yeah,
sorts of
I'd be
things.
definitely about.
But yeah, and also I understand a lot of folks are going to vote Republican, going to vote Democrat, no matter what, for the most part.
Sure.
They want to get their vote in. Cool. But you're right. Already, we do have the absentee system, and people are already turning in their absentee early. So I don't know.
Early voting.
Yeah, I find that the some of the systems and the changes that were made in 2020, like the drop-off boxes and the so-called ballot harvesting, that I guess now both sides are engaging in this cycle in states where is going on. I'm not a huge fan of those sorts of things. I think there should be some very proactive actions on the part of voters themselves.
Well, and ballot harvesting, I'll give folks, credit for coming up with interesting names. They're very good. I don't call it that. I think it doesn't move me one way or the other. I'm not for, let's say, like a mailbox, for instance, and you drop your ballots there.
Right.
Because to me, that is, even though it's a box, it's not secure.
Right.
And that's what I was saying about your courthouses, because they're open and they've got security. Put as many boxes as you want there. and you got less opportunity if someone comes along. Like I don't know if it's in Washington or Portland or someplace like that, where someone firebombed. No, what are you going to do with that? I mean, this is the kind of crap that you get, and nobody knows who did it. So I'm not complaining someone left it from the right, just a jackass did it.
Yeah.
And that's what you get. And look at the inconvenience now we all have to go through. And so you always have one thing America's good at. We always have spoilers. If we don't have anything else in this country, we got haters and spoilers. We ain't never gonna get rid of them.
That's the haters. You're right about that.
The hater in New York who stole that ball.
Yeah.
But he's from New York. I mean, but it's the Yankees, and I guess he was like, "You're not getting it."
Yeah.
So
Well, they had him buy his glove. He's like, let go.
they tried to take the
They
glove.
celebrated him the next day. They celebrated the guy.
It's nothing sacred, right? Only in America.
Yeah.
Only in America do we do this sort of a thing.
Well, and I think what I've been talking about on the show, and I wrote about this a couple weeks back. I think obviously, and we would know it being here in Montgomery, since the civil rights era, the emphasis has been on openness. Like, you better not be suppressing people's votes. But you've seen, and I've based what I wrote on looking at Pew Research, looking at Gallup Research. The shift has for independents and more conservative leaning, but like a 40-something% independents, is not just to worry about election openness, but also election integrity. And some of that, you could say is like, well, y'all are riling up people about non-citizens voting, but that concern is there. And sometimes I think in the name of openness, people's concerns about integrity or honesty of the rolls and whatnot is not addressed by, especially this has been kind of the status quo in federal courts until this recent Supreme Court ruling for a few generations now.
Well, when have we not had, people said if I think Trump was asked if he would accept the results, or someone was asked to accept the results. And the caveat was they all paired in the same thing. If it's a free and fair election, I'm like, when have we not had that in this country? I mean, sometimes, even Bush versus Gore in 2000, for those who can remember that, you got an opportunity to vote. You went in and you did it. With voter ID now, it is very difficult for people to, this is not Tammany Hall. This is not, right. This is not New York, turn of the 19th century, okay, where you got more votes than people. Okay, that's something different. The security is there. We've got it. There was this kid in my neighborhood years and years ago who challenged everybody from a game of horse to riding a bicycle. He was just awful. And he was just a jerk in the neighborhood. Nobody liked him anyway. But anyway, he would always claim to be the best at everything. Mm-hmm. So before you kicked his butt at whatever it was, Atari, football, basketball, whatever it was, he always had a built-in excuse as to why he wasn't going to win before it happened. And would try to impugn the integrity of you beating him by saying you cheated, you did this, you did that. We've got that same thing going on now. And one thing I say is that lawyers, we're not as free to just say crazy stuff as non-lawyers are. I tell folks all the time, you got a law license, you're governed by certain things. And whether it's casual or whether it's not, if you're out in the public eye saying stuff, you got to watch what you say and what you do. So I'm not going to impugn the election process that we've had in this country, for hundreds of years, to say that our elections are not secure. That is, you're raising doubt with no justification, just because the possibility exists. That's like, I ought to go build myself, a meteor shelter on the rare possibility one actually comes and hits me. Because, there was supposedly one that landed in Wetumpka over there millions of years ago, whenever it was.
And I see what you mean, like, I'll accept it only if I win, or if I'm declared the winner. And that's not very healthy, but there has to be avenues to challenge, like because of the Bush Gore example, for instance, or 2020.
Yeah, and those things are there, and people use them, but lawyers have to do these things in good faith. And there've been a lot of lawyers who filed pleadings back in 2020 who've been suspended, who've been disbarred, because judges are judges, whether they're appointed by Republicans, whether they're appointed by Democrats. Judges are serious, and they're serious people, and 99.9% of them do not like lawyers bringing BS into their courtrooms, because they don't have the time for that. And when you do that, as a lawyer, you have to make sure you got a bona fide claim. This is serious. You just can't speculatively say, because Joey, if I'm representing you, you just say, well, Joe, I've been, they cheated. I just know in my bones.
Right.
I can't put that on a piece of paper and file it. I do that, and I'm going to get Rule 11 sanctioned. That's going to be the first thing that's probably going to happen.
Let me give an example, though, because, for instance, like, think of the name Sidney Powell, who was no fool in the sense that she had tried, hundreds of cases in the federal court system. She was a competent lawyer, had a big name. So she goes down that rabbit hole with Dominion. It makes me wonder, what the heck happened?
What she was smoking or drinking?
Yeah, or what information she was fed, how she was fed. Why did she believe the information she was fed? It didn't, for Giuliani, it's a different story. I think time is catching up to him.
He's next, but go ahead.
But Powell in particular, it was such over-the-top claims that I'm like, what's happened to this woman?
I think it was, you got a client who, in my opinion, who has pretty much not been held accountable for anything, telling you to do this. And this is where lawyers make mistakes, pleasing the clients paying and doing what the client tells you to do, as opposed to doing what you know you ought to do. And you can zealously advocate for your client, but there's got to be merit to what they're saying. You just don't get to say things. And so I don't know what she heard or what she didn't hear. She ends up pleading in Georgia, and I saw the way they crafted that stuff. I kind of looked at that last night, but that's bad business. And what it does is that it breaks, our democracy survives on faith and integrity. And when you go after the cornerstones, which is the justice system and our ability to choose our leaders, you start to break that down. You're crossing, in my opinion, a threshold that ought not be done. I mean, you have your stuff. Look, if you're going to say it, have your stuff ready to prove it. And I think that's why these lawyers have been disciplined the way they've been disciplined. And I think that's why the lawsuits have come out the way they've come out.
Well, I was about to say, I've been kind of maybe chipping away at cornerstones for a decade or more, long before even Trump showed up on the scene. In the sense that, for instance, I think we're a nation of too many laws. And
I agree with that.
And so it creates all this play in the joints and discretion for people who do have positions at the DOJ or, say, a courtroom. And it allows for a certain emphasis of the law. And it also, I think, allows for legal graft, as they call it. I'll put it that way.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. We're the most regulated country in the world. I mean, the U.S. code is so big now. None of us know that. I don't care how long you've been practicing. None of us know that. The best you can do is know where to find it. You may not even find it. It's so darn big. But I get that part. I don't have any issue with meritorious claims and pursuing them and having the avenues that we've got. I mean, that's what our system is about. And I think we've got the best system in the world. I truly believe that. But the system is only as good as the people who are implementing it. And if you got people with integrity and common sense and character, then you're going to get you won't get perfect results, because we aren't perfect, but you're going to get, for the most part, just results. And I believe that the system, for the most part, has rendered just decisions. I'm not telling you there hasn't been a decision here and there that you can point to that's just way out in left field that you just know is as bogus as a $3 bill with my picture on it. But it happens. But it doesn't happen all the time. What we can't do is take the exceptions and try to make them, the rule. I think we still have to stick with, James Madison said that democracy was dependent on an informed and well-meaning populace. I'm just paraphrasing a little bit. And if you didn't, that you would elect people of good character and goodwill, and that's what makes it work. And if you didn't do that sort of a thing, then basically he says, God help us, because there's no checks and balances. There are no safeguards that'll keep this country free. And so from that standpoint, I kind of operate to say, look, everybody during the Civil War, President Lincoln, everyone prays to the same God, but only God can render only results coming out of this. And much like an election, that's exactly what you're going to have. But people, you can't destroy the system. You can't denigrate the system because you don't like the outcome, or you're disappointed, or you're upset. I mean, that's just the nature. Even a sports contest is like that.
Right.
You know? And so from that perspective, if you've got a legitimate gripe, I've got no issue challenging.
Okay.
Yeah,
no,
and just for politics.
And even beyond the electoral system, obviously, I'm a big critic of our so-called system. And in many ways, it would be because, I don't think it's very representative of actually people's interest often. It's more representative of, say, big money interest and certain other interests that have the inertia, or they've been there for a while. So they have a leg up on, say, the average person. In particular, I look at questions of war and how it often doesn't seem like a reflection of, say, the people's will. We haven't declared war since World War II. It's often the powers that be want to do a certain thing, even if it's short of troops on the ground. It's like, who in the United States, average American, Democrat or Republicans, like, yeah, let's create a no-fly zone in Libya and have Gaddafi overthrown.
Sure.
Like, and I think there's a lot to our government, the so-called blob, as a guy named Mike Benz would say, that is not very accountable to even a president, even elected members of Congress. That I often get this sense of when I watch, say, these committee hearings, you bring in somebody from the State Department, you can see by just body language, who's the actual boss here?
Mm-hmm.
It's the person from the State Department. They have to answer some questions. They have to, legally, that legal gray area, comply with what Congress wants. But they have job security, whereas these, senators maybe a little better, but these congressmen, they come and go.
They do,
and we continue. Yeah. And I think it's beyond a partisan point is what I'm coming at. And
it's a PowerPoint,
and it explains, I think, a lot of also the distrust and unrest out there right now. Is the informal centers of power are not as strong as they were, let's say, 20, 30 years ago. And people are reacting to that. And the people in those centers of power are reacting to the reaction.
I'm not sure, Joey, we've been the same since Vietnam and the Kennedy assassination. If I had to say there were turning points in terms of trusting your government, I think those two critical events, different but in the same time period, and we've never been the same. And then when you've got that, you have to have someone who comes in with transparent and reassures. And sometimes you don't like what you don't like what you see, or it leaves room for people to take advantage of that and stoke fear and mistrust, even when it's not warranted.
Right.
But I think we have to take our government for what it is, that it is not perfect. Okay. That is not right all the time, but we have a civic duty to try to make it to be the best of all of us, and do the best job. I tell some people who don't vote, frankly, I don't want to talk to you if you don't vote. You don't have a say in this, well, my vote doesn't count. No, of course, that's on the only time I think people are truly equal, Joey, truly equal in America is on election day, because they're counting votes on election day. One was the same as another. And that's just what that is. Anytime other than that, things can get kind of quirky. But election day, they're counting those things. But if you aren't going to participate in this grand experiment that we call democracy, then you don't really get to talk a whole lot about what you don't like, because election is the day that's what happens. And unfortunately, we're making voting harder than anything else. I mean, right now in Georgia, for instance, and maybe even here, I'm getting confused now. Where is the crime in giving somebody water for standing in a line? It is 80 degrees out here today.
Oh yeah, but the law had it was not, you can't just give water. It was that you can't have like branded stuff. So it can't be like a Trump for America, Kamala for America, like on the water bottle sort of thing. It could be like, hey, I've got, Dasani, here you go.
Right. And my thing would be like, really? And I would say to that, like, who cares if these are the folks who are running this? I mean, that's a speech issue. That doesn't go
also
one way or the
Dasani should be illegal anyhow. It just makes people more thirsty than byproduct.
With free advertisement for them, you just gave them a plug. You better call them.
I'm an Evian guy.
Now that's too rich. That's too rich for my blood.
It's good stuff. Though.
I'm just out there. I'm out of the tap, and if the tap ain't good enough, then the hose pipe will work too.
Oh yeah, I grew up on Montgomery tap water. It ain't the worst thing in the world.
We're still here.
Yeah, we're still here. Eddie, how about you?
I grew up on hose water. Yeah, right out of Montgomery.
Yeah,
hose water.
Yeah,
nice.
Yeah. Nothing beat that. Like after football practice.
Oh yeah.
Well, you could taste the hose.
Yeah,
I kind of do miss the taste of the hose on a hot summer day.
Really?
Yeah.
This explains a lot. Because right out of the tap of the faucet in the sink, one thing. But if you got rubber in there, I mean, that explains a lot.
Don't drink the first
flavored
thing that comes
water
out because the bugs are usually there.
There's it's hot.
So
that first little bit is really not going to be the hot.
Well, it needs to be a normal garden hose, too. So if you got like one of those ball field hoses, you tear your face up. Like, goodness gracious. So we got to hit a break here. When we come back, I want to get into the specifics of this District 2 contest and where you think things are going and what might happen tomorrow. This part of the program brought to you by Pest Pro Services, and there at Pest Pro, Ashley and the team are ready to help you with any and all your pest control needs. It could be an emergency job you want to get done swiftly, like there are ants in the kitchen, or I am so tired of the spiders just wrapping around that, getting webbed every time I walk out my front door, side door. Or maybe you're just looking for an everyday pest control company that you can trust, that other people trust. Why not go with Pest Pro Services? They've been growing like crazy since the pandemic. Really a great success story there for Ashley. And not only are they true professionals at dealing with any and all of your pest control needs, they're great local folks, always giving back. I know for a fact Ashley helps with other small businesses. It works with nonprofits, does a lot of highlighting of local athletics. They're just great local folks. So check them out today. You can always call them at 265-9990. That's 265-9990. Or go to ppsriverregion.com or just search Pest Pro Services on the Book of Faces. When you want to know, call a pro. Pest Pro Services. And be sure to tell Ashley and that team that Joey, that fella on the radio, sent you.
Want to carry News Talk in your pocket? Download the News Talk 93.1 app from the App Store. Available on iPhone and Android. Never miss a moment. Download now.
I'm Wes Allen, Secretary of State. In Alabama, election integrity is a top priority. We must ensure fair, secure, and transparent elections. To vote in Alabama, state law requires voters to present a valid form of photo identification. For a complete list of acceptable identification, or to learn more about acquiring a free photo voter ID, visit alabamavotes.gov.
This message is presented by Alabama Secretary of State Wes Allen.
For too long, Alabama's statewide news companies have shamed us for our conservative Christian values. Alabama deserves a news company that cherishes our culture, a company that isn't bought and paid for by the powers that be. 1819 News is that company. Run by Alabamians for Alabamians, 1819 News celebrates what is good and beautiful about our state, while exposing those who work against our values in secret. Just go to 1819news.com to learn more. Subscribe to our newsletter. That's 1819news.com.
The holiday season is quickly approaching, and what better way to spread joy than by giving back to those in need? We're calling on all of you, our generous listeners, to make this holiday season extra special for those who might be struggling. Join us for our annual holiday food drive benefiting the Heart of Alabama Food Bank. It's simple. Just gather non-perishable food items like canned goods, pasta, rice from your pantry, and drop them off at any of our convenient sponsor locations across the river region. Together, we can make a difference. Together, we can feed families in need this holiday season. Starting November 11th, bring your donations to Ask Telemarketing, City Pawn, Rick's Jewelers, Riverside Chevrolet, or Prattville Carpet. Donate what you can. It's Blue Water Broadcasting's annual Holiday Food Drive.
Rich Thomas Weather, a service of Riverside Chevrolet Wetumpka. If it's Chevy, it's Riverside. Best price, best selection. Check them out on the web at riversideusa.net.
Hi, everybody. Finally, showers returning to our forecast this week, but not right away. Today will be very warm and dry, high 83 with limited sunshine. Cloudy at times tonight, very mild, overnight low 65. Tomorrow, Election Day, partial sunshine. High in the low to mid 80s. Risk of scattered showers holding off, I think, till after midnight on Tuesday night. Then scattered showers at times Wednesday and Thursday. Boy, we need the raindrops. Still warm, high in the low 80s. From the Blue Water Weather Center, this is Rich Thomas.
Whether you're buying a home or auto or consolidating debt, CB&S Bank's personal loans get you where you need to go. Go to cbsbank.com to find a location near you or apply online today. All loans subject to credit approval, member FDIC, and equal housing lender.
When news happens, you'll hear about it first. The River Region's most trusted voice. News Talk 93.1 FM WACV.
Joey Clark.
Welcome back to News and Views in the afternoon. 272-9228. Our guest in studio with Eddie and I is Joe Reed. Always good seeing you, sir.
Good to see you too.
And so let's go to this Figures-Dobson race, this Alabama brand new Congressional District 2. What's your sense of this? Like, especially, you know, I'm not in necessarily with the Democrats around here. I'm not hip to stuff the way you are. So what's sort of the feeling about this race?
Well, I think it's not a foregone conclusion. In Alabama, this is a hyper partisan state, and you know the legislature has been doing a good job of choosing their voters as opposed to the voters choosing who their representatives are actually going to be by the way the districts are are drawn. So this one was, of course, created when, the start of it, given, again, Alabama's history and the population of African Americans here being rough about 26% and having 7 districts. So there was always one, and people they just do, live together for the most part. Ethnic groups just kind of settle around each other, and lots of other reasons, you got that, but around that. So this district, unlike Terry Sewell's district, which is predominantly African American, this one is not. Okay, this one is, I think, the plurality is African American, but it's not majority. Okay, so you got other ethnic groups that are in there, but the way it works, and keep in mind, Mobile and Montgomery used to be in a district years ago. I think my memory serves me right. Bill Dickinson was congressman then, I think, when it was. And then I think once we got to the 90s and the creation of the new 7th district, I think took that out of that. Montgomery hasn't been whole really since then.
Right.
But I think the sense is that, again, what the courts did, they made it an opportunity district. It's not a slam dunk, for anything one way or the other. It is just that. African Americans will have an opportunity to choose someone of their choosing without the votes being, split up. But in no way is it a foregone conclusion. So I think that, like I said, I think there is the optimism. Now, depending on who you talk to, some people don't think, it will happen. Other people think that it will. I think the Figures campaign is very optimistic about it. And you know how close it is because of what you see in that race is what you don't see in Alabama state races. You see a Democrat actually, I don't want to call it competing, but there's money in that. Okay.
Right.
And so because of the way those races have been historically, Democrats aren't even putting money in statewide races hardly anymore because of how it's done. And even through the legislature, they're not doing it. So I think you got 2 lawyers. Somebody just said you got 2 lawyers, 2 highly educated lawyers. But 2 different sides of the political spectrum, and that's just what that is. So I think it's going to come down to what those people actually think and feel about that. Is it more of a social issue in terms of what I called unique statuses of individuals, or is it something where real life, what hits me when I say that, is it a healthcare issue? For instance, I think there's a hospital in Monroe County that's closed down. I don't know if there's a hospital around here. We've got, that's a serious issue. Jackson. Well, Jackson, you're in Montgomery.
in trouble too.
Right. So we've got a lot of real problems. And so depending on how people, is it choice for women? What is it going to be? And these are the culture wars that we're in now. And so it's not, and I'll say this, it is very, I think, naive to assume simply because a candidate is African American that African Americans will automatically do that.
Right.
That I told someone a long time ago. African Americans have been voting for white elected officials for years. That's not a strange, uncommon thing, And so it's not going to be that sort of a situation. Right. I think it's going to come down to the needs of those people. If you're in Alabama, I think if healthcare isn't at the top of your list, I don't know what it is. My dad always said you don't have anything but your health and your reputation. Those 2 things you got in your life. You lose either one of those, and life ain't worth living. Just not. So most folks say, well, my reputation's intact, but I got to go 40, 60 miles to a hospital. How do I do that? So that might, so depending on what the candidates are talking about, I think that'll push you one way or the other, but I think it's tight.
Yeah, I've only had the opportunity to talk to Caroline, and in fact, those 2 issues you brought up, well, one, she actually heard more about IVF than abortion and traveling the district. And then the healthcare system was a huge thing. Everybody's talking about that. With this race, I find, because I've asked several folks, the polling, I always discount publicly available polling, not saying it's necessarily wrong, but the good stuff the campaigns do internally, and it costs a lot of money. And so I usually discount that stuff. But Jeff Poore actually brought this point up with me that people that were polling that brand new Alabama District 1, when it was the primary between Barry Moore and Jerry Carl, had Carl up. Barry Moore wins. And so with it being a brand new district, it's got to be very difficult to poll, even if you're trying to do your darndest, you're the best pollster in the world. And then you add in how many folks know they're in the district, and you try to look at past performance. Both Kay Ivey and Katie Britt, if you drew them into this district, did very well.
Yep.
in those. I think you're right that it's hard to even judge. Some of it might be turnout, given the national enthusiasm going on right now. And I do wonder about that, especially in Alabama, because it's sort of a foregone conclusion that Trump will win the electoral votes for Alabama. But how many people actually want to get out there to vote for him, or how many folks really want to get out there to vote for Kamala, I think hits those, say, lower information voters who are just pulling straight ticket.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think if you're one or two sides, you're either on the Republican side and you're like, this is going to go for Trump. I'm not needed. Why should I get up and come out of here? I know who's going to win Alabama. And they stay at home. Then you got other folks who like Kamala Harris who say, I know Trump's going to win. She's not going to win this, so why should I come out?
Right.
So to your point, it is I think it's purely who comes.
Yeah.
It's pure, and and I agree. There's no way to really gauge that. You're right. New people, new district, new group. You don't know. So this is a test, And so candidates, and I think both candidates, from what I can see, are working very hard to get voters to support them and to come out on their behalf. That's what I'm seeing.
Now, this next question is highly speculative, not necessarily hypothetical. Do you think no matter who wins, this district survives the next round of, say, court hearings or redistricting? Does this district act, or is this just a 2-year thing?
I think it survives. The courts, when the Supreme Court weighs in on something, okay, and I'll say even this particular Supreme Court, to get them to come back and undo it, that's a tall. They're not going to do that. I mean, that's just not what they do, because there has to be stability in the law, stability in the decisions, and it's always my old partner who's deceased told me a long time, asking once a judge has ruled, to ask that judge to reconsider, and how often does that really happen? And I think in my career, I think I've seen it twice out of every time 2 times out of when I've asked for it, because what you're asking the court to admit is we were wrong the first time. And all of us were sitting here, we thought about it, here's what we did. So how are we so wrong? And do they want to, most people don't like to say that they're wrong. So to come right back and say, yeah, we were wrong when we drew this, we're not going to do that. Yeah, I don't see that happening. I think it's wishful thinking on some folks' parts who've got a political interest in being where they were. I think you've got that issue. But I think the reality is, no, they're not going to. I think it's here to stay.
Well, I guess we'll see, because I have a sense
that's true.
Yeah, this is definitely good. After, we vote tomorrow, there's going to be, I'm sure, all sorts of challenges, but we will have a congressman or congresswoman for the next 2 years from this district.
You definitely get that. And look, to your point again, you can't say, Supreme Court could change, and you don't know who would do what, in a year. Let's say if Trump were to win. Okay, how many judges come off the court then? Okay, retire. And then who are those appointments going to be, and what are those appointees going to do? Because there were always rumors last time about someone who knew Brett Kavanaugh, who told them something, who said something that if he were doing it again, he'd do it differently. I don't know if that's true or false.
Well, I think for the average American, I don't know if it's true for those in the lawyer community. You could probably replace the Supreme Court with a magic 8-ball. Ask again later.
That's a good one. That's a good one. It's the courts have always been this way, and judges are lawyers who have their leanings, and this court certainly has its leanings, and that's what I'm saying. I think for this court. And I'll be frank to say it did surprise me when it did it.
Yeah.
And I think because they did it, that's why I think that they're not going to undo it.
Well, I always love the ironies of everybody was screaming and moaning when the court takes away one part of the Voting Rights Act, which is the pre-clearance part, getting pre-clear with the DOJ. Like, you're upsetting this precedent or whatever, but the very districts that have been essentially pre-cleared now without pre-clearance, okay, now we get a brand new district out of it. And the twists and turns of this do not meet necessarily expectations or people's priors as we were going into all these changes around it.
Yeah, it's, and I said, I didn't like them striking down that part of the Voting Rights Act, because because you get all this stuff now that you've got. Well played by the side that wanted to do it, because they had a goal and put things in motion and stayed with it. And this is the result. But I can't remember the case. I used to remember all these things, and I don't remember them anymore. But I don't think judges can't forget as judges what they know to be true as men and women and people. you know what happens. And we know how people are, and there's some progress we've made this country for sure, and there's still some progress that we've got to keep making. And so, you know, there are always forces out there, I think, who are self-interested and preserve themselves, that are going to, and they're usually of a certain wealth and a certain power, and it's control for the sake of control.
Oh yeah.
And they'll do what they need to do. They'll do what they can do in order to make sure they've got their finger on that. And so I think that's what we saw with it. But I think in Mississippi, and I got to look back at that case, I'm not sure how Mississippi's case came about. You know, I'm not sure about South Carolina. I'm not sure about Georgia's. I think there were a few of these going on. So I don't know. But I remember even when, I'm a dog a little bit to the point you said about voting early, and we've grown so much. So if you want everyone to vote on the same day, then make it easy. We need more precincts. Okay. We need more. But when Governor Benton was governor, you start closing the driver's license places in some of the rural Black Belt counties. Well, who's out there? Okay.
Right.
And who's this affecting? If they don't have these things, they're not going to vote. So I tell you, when these things happen, you see the stuff, this is not random.
Right.
Okay?
Oh yeah, I agree. No,
somebody's thinking this through.
Well, to your point, I kind of assume everybody's self-interested, even folks that are looking to be fair and open-minded. Everybody has that element of self-interest to them. But, you know, if you really, you know, pull back the layers on me and you push me enough, I view this election like I'm at WrestleMania and I'm cheering on a particular, you know, fighter. It's the main event. I'm part of the show. It wouldn't be a show if there wasn't a crowd cheering.
Right.
But, do I actually determine the outcome in a big way? I'm not saying it's fixed just like wrestling, folks, but that's kind of my position, especially in Alabama. I used to remember family members just dogging each other out. I'm like, wait, are y'all elected officials? Y'all watch CNN and Fox News too much. Because I watched them, I'm like, y'all are just presenting the information you saw there. Let's go eat some hamburgers and watch a football game. Dadgummit.
You know, facts are very stubborn things. And my thing is always to find out what those are, what those aren't. I'm not wedded to any particular candidate or a particular part of that nature to the point where my common sense and my integrity is going to be impugned to support. I'm not doing that. That's just not me. I didn't do it when, you know, as much as I thought Bill Clinton was one of the coolest guys I'd seen as a president, young, that we had seen him, you know, because Reagan was old when we got there, and Carter was old when we were there, and Mondale was old. You know, the first 40-something that we had seen probably since Kennedy, if my math is right, was Bill Clinton. You know, now that being said, yeah, what you can't do, counselor, is you can't lie under oath.
Right.
You know, I mean, I don't care how much. I mean, you think of your family, you think of your siblings, you think of your children, you think of all these things, and there are things that I think America is tolerating now. They don't tolerate in their households. Just don't do it. And I'm not making that exception for anybody, because you know, I think one thing that makes America what America is and how everyone looks up to us is the integrity and the character, you know, and values that we have. That's the big thing. That we're bigger, that no one person is bigger than this country, this institution. I don't care who you are, I don't care what you like. You know, nobody's bigger than that. And there are people, like I say, who I certainly disagree with philosophically, but the integrity point, I can't question. I mean, I can't question that. And we are a country of laws. We're a country of rules, and nobody's is big enough to bend those or shape those, no matter how much maybe we want to win. I mean, like I said, you got your favorite candidate, you do that, but yeah, you're not going to be able to make stuff up that simply doesn't exist to scare me. That's not going to work for me.
Right.
You know, I'm like, if you got it, prove it, show it, you know, because it's easy. Even when it comes to even some of the law that I practice, I'm like, if you can convince 12 people that that's how it went down, then you'll be okay. My bet is that you probably can't.
Well, and it goes back to, I remember in 2016, Hillary Clinton said this on the debate stage. I don't even think it was with Trump. I think it was the Democratic primaries going on. And she said, well, you campaign in poetry and you govern in prose. And which was, I think, a Mario Cuomo line, which is nice enough, but it kind of gave the game away. It's like poetry's always a little, it's not exactly true in a literal way. In fact, the best poetry, if it is literal, it's the best poetry always is a little off from the literal truth. And I'm like, that's an interesting way to say you kind of stretch the truth. And when you're on a campaign trail, you say whatever you need to say. But then when you govern, and that's what's fascinating to me, is that running for office is so different than actually governing.
Yeah.
And it's in some ways the disconnect's charming, as Hillary tried to put it, but in other ways, I think it is also, as more information gets shared with everyday people, it can be a bit infuriating. It's like, wait, you got me all riled up. We went out, we showed out, and now you're just doing what you were doing anyway before the election. I can see the frustration. We're running out of time, so I want to field a few calls here. Let's go to line 3. You're on there. Who's this?
Electrobama?
Hey, Electrobama, what's up?
Hey, thanks for taking my call. Thanks for having the chairman on.
How are you?
It's been informative. All right, how are you?
Good.
Poetry. I don't know. My favorite poetry is the song "I Find It True." It's going to take a week or more. I mean, that's what's likely, right?
Yeah.
So
depends on what states are won. Pennsylvania could be an issue.
So what's with promoting impatience? I mean, if you're a fan of the old school, it used to always take a very long time. We want completeness. We want correctness and completeness. I mean, we got 6 to 8 weeks, right? So we should just buckle up. That might happen.
I'm just saying it's not anything off my back. It's more like I know what's going to happen if you don't actually have a result. And you look at the case of, for instance, something like Florida, that huge mess in 2000, it's a completely different system now.
Mm-hmm.
And they get results pretty daggum quick. There are plenty of very populous states that get results quick, even ones that aren't just deep red or deep blue. And so I'm looking at Pennsylvania in particular. I'm like, I don't think they've actually solved the problems that might have presented themselves in 2020. Other states have. Arizona, I think Michigan, Wisconsin have changed a few things about how when you can count. But
nothing was really found in 2020. So I'm not sure what the vague references are, but I mean, I'm going to get to my root. I don't have an issue with voter ID. It's suppressed mostly old rural Democrat that is black voting, but it's definitely not insurmountable to overcome. I have issues with the justification of that for the extra money spent, the extra added to the budget, the extra bureaucracy. I mean, I'm conservative, meaning you got to have good evidence to require government action. I have issues with the idea that we didn't have a problem with our voters committing fraud until after, well, you can look on the calendar and see after what happened with the presidency. We suddenly have this voter fraud, and we got supposed voter fraud, and we got to get out from under the VRA. That just happened right on time, right when that president got elected. He was, a particular.
Yeah,
I have a problem.
It's not
with
like he was
Schouder.
framed by the national security state, for treason.
I have
But
a
that's no
problem
big
with
deal. All right.
I have a problem with shouting. I think that I don't want to take away from what the chairman said because he did cover this really good. I have a problem with shouting voter fraud fire about something the system caught and will continue to catch well nigh 100% of the time. Not even honest mistakes, but something that was going to be caught. It's not nitpicking, it's shoot picking. Or that's the FCC safe way of saying it. Now, Trump has said he won New Mexico. He said
Already?
he won California. He said that the last
okay.
couple elections he won them, So that's funny, And we should not believe him regarding this election after the election without citationable verification. Lots of people. I pray that no one dares promulgate outrageous unreality about our republic's voting, and that no one get outraged about insulting unreality. And great untruth is insulting because dignity is to be told the truth. Finally, Kamala is winning in the latest Iowa poll, which has a very, very good record. So get out and vote for a normal person who studied under Biden, who's got an economy that's the envy of the world and will actually enforce the antitrust and consumer protection law that we have to increase market protection and not just stop inflation, but lower prices along with economic growth. So, I'm sorry, just can.
You telling me the truth, Sam? Or is that just your opinion? How does truth and opinion intersect? I appreciate the call, Electrobam. 272-9228. I'm kind of out of time here. He's always verbose, as we all are here, I think, in this room.
We talk too much.
Yeah, some might put it that way.
Yeah, someone said we talk too much.
But it's always good seeing you, Joe. Really is.
It's good seeing you once I have to come back.
Absolutely. Well, especially, state politics is going to ramp up. And the whole 2026 thing is going to be happening a lot earlier than people think. So I would love your take, especially, what you just said about being independent of a lot of these things people lean on you for. I'd just love to get your take on some of these folks that are going to be running for statewide office, especially this new generation coming up.
Look, I think I'm a common sense guy. I mean, and I think when you pull labels back, and as people try to pigeonhole folks in labels because of one part, it's too tribal, way too tribal. But I think you have to look at, and there are needs of a lot of Alabamians that, quite frankly, don't affect me, because I've been lucky enough that some stuff didn't happen to me, and I didn't grow up in certain circumstances. But I'm sensitive to those things, and I think what America is supposed to be, in the at least, I think it's to give everybody, when I say a fair shot, and not to have government or people artificially hold you back, but you make it based upon, what it is that you're doing. Unfortunately, we live in a world where those things come in. And I think government does have to step in to make sure that the playing field is level and it is equal because of what happens. I think it has to do that. But that being said, I want to say this, 1253, I think the American presidency is something that's still to be revered. And I think character matters. I think integrity matters. I think optics matter. And I think I couldn't order a pizza in my office. Okay. I had 3 people in the office. We couldn't agree on a darn pizza and what was going to be on to get in there. And I was paying for it. We still couldn't agree. When you get 12 people in a room, okay, to hear evidence, and that's why I didn't comment on Big John's case last week in terms of what happened with that. I don't know because I'm not in that room.
We're not there yet.
I've got a source who gave me some information that is reliable because I know the source. But you don't take things unless you're there. You don't know, and you can't shape that public opinion by misinformation. And so what people have got to have, I think the optics of the presidency have to be something. And I'll just be blunt and say about it. Yeah, no felons for president. I don't care who you are. Don't care. Doesn't matter. And people, I'm not going to impugn when I say our justice system that it is unfair to one individual because that person didn't win. I've done this 27 years of practicing law. Juries get it right more often than they get it wrong. Have juries got it wrong? Absolutely. Shoot, yeah, they've done that. Do they get it right more often than not? Heck, yeah, they do. Because 3 things didn't happen last night. The 3 of us were not dragged from our beds and arrested for murder last night. So that's that random stuff. Now, like I told a client in a case some years ago, but when you fit the description, okay, when you're in the neighborhood, okay, when they stop you, ask you where you've been, find something in your car that shouldn't be there, got your prints on it, you know the person, yeah, you have to say something different to get out of that one. Okay. I mean, that's going to be, that's something different.
Well, I'm out of time here. I need to call a sponsor and hit this quick break. But as always, we'd love to have you back, Joe. Thanks.
Love to be back.
Thank you, Joe.
We'll be right back.
He may not know whether he's coming or going, but whether you're going to work or coming home, Greg Budell is there. Mornings 6 till 9 and afternoons 3 till 6. Only on News Talk 93.1 FM WACV.
Hi, this is Bubba for Cat House Marine. Spring's about a week away. Summer is just down the road, so you need to get your boat into Cat House Marine and get it serviced for the upcoming season. And if you call Cat House Marine at 517-6500, they'll set you up an appointment to bring your boat in for same-day basic service. Cat House Marine has state-of-the-art equipment in-house to help diagnose any problem they may find. They even have a dyno machine for boats. Their shop is absolutely huge. They have the workspace to work on up to 20 boats at one time. And they have the equipment to service and test fuel injectors. They're the only place in the area that are able to offer those services. Call Cat House Marine today. By the way, if you're looking to buy a boat, they have a full line of express fully equipped bass boats, center console boats, crappie boats, duck boats, and luxury pontoon boats. They're not in the junk business. They only sell you the best. So whether you're looking to just get your boat serviced or you're looking to buy a boat, Cat House Marine is the place you need to be. Oh, by the way, they're the only Yamaha loose engine dealer in the area. Now, there are other dealers in the area that can sell you a Yamaha boat with the engine, but they can't just sell you the engine by itself, but Cat House Marine can. Get my Cat House Marine, corner of Cops Ford Road, Main Street in Millbrook, and be sure and tell them Bubba sent you.
Make 2024 the year you break away from the chain stores and join us here at Adams Drugs. We value your business and want to provide you the best customer service at the lowest possible price. We've been serving up excellent customer service here in the River region for over 62 years.
I made the swap to Adams Drugs and I couldn't be happier. Having a job and then getting 3 kids to all of their activities keeps me busy. I don't have an hour to waste waiting on a prescription. At Adams, they know me and my family. I get in and out in minutes, and when I can't get by Adams, they'll bring the prescription right to my door.
What are you waiting for? Come in to Adams Drugs and let us earn your business. Our friendly and personal staff will talk with you and answer any questions you may have about your prescriptions. Your satisfaction is our #1 goal. Visit us at adamsdrugs.net for the location nearest to you. Adams Drugs is your local independent Health Mart pharmacy. Health Mart, taking the time to listen and care.
The premier place the River Region turns to for news, weather, traffic, and opinion. News Talk 93.1 FM WACV.
Joey Clark.
Welcome back. Well, folks, let's go to a brand new sponsor. We talked to him last week from Vista Advisors. We have Austin Baranco. Austin, how you doing this afternoon?
Having a great day, Joey. How about you?
Oh, we're just preparing. As my Uncle Dave would say, these are times where you could back up to a brick wall and suck out a brick. So I'm looking for the relief. One way or the other, it's going to be relief on Wednesday. So as you know, especially in your line of work, as y'all are trying to give people strategy, think things through, how does politics play into all this?
Yes, certainly. We are hyper-focused on politics, especially on a week like this. And like you said, it will be a relief either way. We build up in 2- and 4-year cycles in this country to, big political crescendos, if you will. And here we are again with a big one coming tomorrow. So we've got our finger to the pulse on this. Politics, I would say, in the grand scheme of investment, plays a much lesser role than we oftentimes give it credit for. But that is not to say that it doesn't play a role. It certainly does. And it's definitely what people like to talk about and hear about at a bare minimum. So the sentiment can drive the market. But really the underlying politics of the people that are elected are what really drive the market. And that's what we focus on at Invista. So, we typically meet as a committee every 2 weeks to review our portfolios. But as we head into an election cycle like this, we'll be meeting much more frequently. I've been on the phone with some of our committee members today discussing strategy. We have a meeting tomorrow morning. We'll have a meeting the day after the election. We'll have a meeting the Monday after the election. So at a time like this, we are hyper-focused on politics, and we've kind of got what we deem to be a playbook, the Invista playbook, that we have multiple outcomes. You can't predict with 100% certainty what the outcome will be. So we've kind of narrowed it down to 4 outcomes, and based on whichever outcome we have clarity on in the coming days and weeks, we will make investment tweaks to our portfolio accordingly. And the reason I say days and weeks is, as you probably know even better than me, Joey, I think we'll have the presidency and the Senate wrapped up in pretty short order, but sometimes those House elections can drag on a little bit. So we may not know who some of those tighter races in California favor until a couple days or even weeks later.
There you go. And so, folks, if you're looking for guides, if you're looking for true professionals that can help advise you when it comes to, how to protect your wealth and how to set a plan, including all the headwinds that politics creates, that's Invista Advisors. Call up Austin there. It's still 387-0094.
That's right. That's us.
Well, I encourage folks to check you out, and let's do this again soon. Let's chat again soon.
Yeah, appreciate you calling, Joey.
Thanks, Austin. Again, that's Austin Baranco with Invista Advisors.
The opinions voiced in this material are for general information only and are not intended to provide specific advice or recommendations for any individual. All performance referenced is historical and is no guarantee of future results. All indices are unmanaged and may not be invested into directly. The opinions expressed in this material do not necessarily reflect the views of LPL Financial. Securities offered through LPL Financial, member FINRA SIPC. Investment advice is offered through Invista Advisors, registered investment advisor and separate entity from LPL Financial.
We'll be right back. Second hour coming up.
Brought Broadcasting from the Riverside Chevrolet Master Control Center, this is WACV Cusana, News Talk 93.1 FM. When it's Chevy, it's Riverside.
With SRN News, I'm John Scott. North Carolina has set a new record for early voting. The State Board of Elections says nearly 4.5 million North Carolinians cast their ballots early this year. That far exceeds the previous state record of 3.6 million who did so in 2020. Nationwide, more than 78 million Americans have voted early. No one knows how Tuesday's presidential election will turn out, but the Federal Reserve's move 2 days later much easier to predict. With inflation continuing to cool, the Fed set to cut interest rates for a second time this year. On Thursday, the Fed's policymakers are on track to cut their benchmark rate by a quarter point to about 4.6% after having implemented a half-point reduction back in September. Stocks lower, the Dow dropping 207 points and the NASDAQ composite down a dozen. This is SRN News.
Our nation's problems have been building for the past 50 years, and they're not going away overnight, which is why we must prepare now for a financial collapse that will affect the entire economy. The good news is there's an easy way to do that. Hi, I'm Dr. Ron Paul, and I believe everyone should consider a gold IRA from Birch Gold Group to diversify their IRA or 401k. Gold is a proven bedrock in almost every kind of economy. To learn more, get a free info kit from my trusted friends at Birch Gold by texting the word PREPARE to 989898. Don't wait until decades of government irresponsibility comes crashing down on your retirement. Get your free info kit on gold IRAs from the Birch Gold Group now. Text PREPARE to the number 989898. That's PREPARE to 989898.
Rich Thomas Weather, a service of H&H Carpets in stock specials on waterproof luxury vinyl plank and engineered hardwood flooring at blowout sale prices. H&H Carpet across from Walmart on the Atlanta Highway.
Hi, everybody. Finally, showers returning to our forecast this week, but not right away. Today will be very warm and dry, high 83 with limited sunshine. Cloudy at times tonight, very mild, overnight low 65. Tomorrow, Election Day, partial sunshine, high in the low to mid 80s. Risk of scattered showers holding off, I think, till after midnight on Tuesday night. Then scattered showers at times Wednesday and Thursday. Boy, we need the raindrops. Still warm, high in the low 80s. From the Blue Water Weather Center, this is Rich Thomas.
Web Bobo with Capital Tractor. Get a Kubota RTV with a $2,000 instant rebate or 0% APR. Up to 48 months with approved credit. Get a Kubota now through December 31st, 2024. See Capital Tractor Montgomery and Brundage or KubotaUSA.com for details.
From the Blue Water Broadcasting News Center, here's today's top stories. Governor Kay Ivey received emergency treatment after suffering a medical episode Sunday evening. The governor was attending a campaign event for Caroline Dobson at Sweet Creek Farm Market when she became dehydrated. Ivey was evaluated on site and received fluids. The governor was able to return home and is reportedly doing well. As Alabamians fell back an hour Sunday morning, Senator Tommy Tuberville is continuing to advocate for passage of the Sunshine Protection Act to make daylight savings time permanent. Senator Tuberville remarked that it's time to end the outdated practice of adjusting our clocks twice a year. A man that was killed in a Montgomery shooting has been identified. Police were called to the 1900 block of Gibbs Drive around 4:30 Friday afternoon, where 23-year-old Zachary McMeans was pronounced dead at the scene from a gunshot wound. Previously ruled a homicide, police are now reporting the incident as a death investigation. From the Blue Water Broadcasting News Center, I'm Sky Mosley.
This hour of news and views is brought to you by our good friends at Alabama Home Mortgage. Alabama Home Mortgage, 567-4223. Visit them on the web at myalabamahomemortgage.com. NMLS number 1586368. an equal housing lender.
Looking for insurance, or maybe you're just not satisfied with your current carrier? How does quality coverage with local service and competitive rates sound to you? The folks at Stark Agency offer just that. Whether you need insurance for your business, car, home, or life, Stark Agency can help. As an independent insurance agency with over 20 of the top insurance carriers, Stark is sure to find the perfect match for you and your loved ones. Visit their site at starkagency.com or give them a call at 334-263-5535 for a quote today.
Hi, folks. This is Rick Clark with Clark Heating, Air Conditioning, and Plumbing. I'd like to take just a minute to talk to you about our experience with Blue Water Broadcast. One of the hot topics in our staff meetings is spending advertising dollars. If your company or firm is anything like Clark Heating, Air Conditioning, and Plumbing, those dollars are limited, so you have to spend them wisely. That's why we choose Blue Water Broadcasting. Our marketing analysis has proven consistently that spending advertising dollars with Blue Water Broadcasting has contributed significantly to our bottom line. And for that, Clark Heating, Air Conditioning, and Plumbing is truly grateful. So, if you want to spend your advertising dollars wisely, choose Blue Water Broadcasting and see the difference.
Our advertisers are our biggest advocates. Call us to find out how radio can increase your bottom line. Blue Water Broadcasting. Local folks helping local business.
No one wants to wait on service for an overhead door. With 20 years in the industry, you now have access to the best with All Access Overhead Door. All Access Overhead Doors offers prompt professional service at affordable prices on all service and new garage doors for residential and commercial locations. All Access Overhead Door serves the river region and can take care of whatever you need when it comes to your overhead door. Remember, you have access to the best. All Access Overhead Door. Call and schedule an appointment today. 320-2440. And like them on Facebook. They sell the best and service the rest.
The views and opinions of the following program are solely those of the host and other contributors. These do not necessarily represent those of Liberty Acquisitions 825, Blue Water Broadcasting, its management, staff, or any advertisers. It's time for Montgomery's conversational radio show. It's news and views on News Talk 93.1 FM. To join the conversation, call 272-9228.
Joey Clark.
Welcome back to News and Views in the afternoon. Let's go right to the phones and talk to James. Hey, James, how you doing?
Hey, Joy. You know, a lot of the Democrats like to refer to Trump as, you should vote for him because he's a felon. Well, the judges that I've always talked to have said that you're not a felon until you run your legal remedies through. You appeal the case. And once the case is finalized, then it might be considered a felon if it wasn't overturned or reversed. And for instance, Trump didn't lose his right to vote. He went down to Florida and voted the other day.
Right.
If he'd been a finalized felon, he wouldn't have been able to do that unless he got his rights back. So I did want to mention that.
Good point.
And by the way, James, I believe there's only one amendment on the ballot for tomorrow. And
yes,
it has to do with essentially the transfer of certain lands. And it essentially allows a school board. Let me pull this up. Currently, the Franklin County school system owns some 16th section lands. 16th section lands or indemnity lands were for the benefit of schools. It was granted in the 1800s by the Congress. So currently, Franklin County school system owns some 16th lands and indemnity lands that are located in a different county, Fayette County and Walker County. So this amendment would transfer ownership rights of those lands to the Franklin County Board of Education to where they could lease it, sell it. Right. But that's the gist of the amendment.
Yes, sir. Oh, I appreciate that, Joy. Yeah, thank you. And we're enjoying listening to you, and I appreciate y'all, and I'll talk with you later.
Thank you, James.
Let's go to Charles the first. Hey, Charles.
Hey, Charles.
Hey, how y'all doing?
Pretty good. Thanks for holding on, buddy.
I was wanting to talk about your first guest you had talked early in the conversation about bringing up things that might question your ability to vote and stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we also have the 1819 news article about the poll worker who believed from the meetings and things that they went to that persons might be allowed to vote that weren't supposed to.
Mm-hmm.
And remember, I told you about the Molly Ball article from the last election.
Oh, yeah,
where,
in time, yeah.
yes, okay, now. So I decided that I remembered there was a correlation between what was being talked about in the 1819 news article and Molly Ball's article that we should learn history from, okay? Part of that money, which totaled $700 million, was given an unlimited budget to a woman named Amber McReynolds. Amber McReynolds was from Denver, Colorado, and for a decade she had been a Democrat liberal person that it was called Vote From Home. She was the president of that organization. And she saw to it that any way, voting after mail-in, anything that she wanted to do, that was her specialty. Listen, they gave her that money, and she went to polling places, her and her teams, all across the United States. And they presented ways that you might even go against your state legislators' way of conducting your votes. She instructed these poll workers on what they would do. Now, here's what I'm getting at. Guess what Biden made her the head of as soon as he went into office in 2021? She is the vice chairman of the governing body of the United States Postal Service. Have you got me there?
Yeah. Yep.
The woman who actually tried for decades in an organization to change voting methods is now that high up, second in command of the Postal Service. And another thing to not forget, since we're here, is Mike Podhosner had to call to tell the persons that Biden won so that none of the actions that I talked about last time would occur. And remember, he was named the political advisor from the AFL-CIO to Biden. And also, guess who the campaign person over Kamala's campaign is? She was with the AFL-CIO when Mike Podhosner was president of it in 2011. And guess who spoke at the national meeting of the 2011 in L.A. AFL-CIO meeting? Kamala Harris. So just thought you might be interested in all that stuff, guys.
Oh, yeah. There's always a web, a network of folks that these things don't just happen.
Right.
I appreciate it, Charles.
Hey, thanks a lot.
See you, Charles.
Yeah, and sometimes I try not to I appreciate him telling us that. And that article is a must read. It's sort of a victory lap of look at how we pulled this off in 2020. But I try not to too often get too deep into let me connect every single dot to all this stuff. I think it's better to more have a general sense of how these things work. And my general sense of this is there, again, a lot of decisions made before Election Day and after Election Day, regardless of what the people do. Now, it still has some sway, of course. But we shall see. We shall see. Now, you know why this is a great country, Eddie?
I know several reasons. What you got?
Well, no, you go first.
Well, for one, because I'm here.
Well, that's a good enough reason as any other. Talking about self-interested.
Well, I was born here, and I've been to other places, and they generally suck. I'll be honest. I know we're not perfect, but there's a lot more imperfection elsewhere.
Like every state, like Alaska's better than Turkey.
Oh, yeah, by 100%, especially for an American.
That's fair. That's not that hard to believe.
But no, I one of the great things in America is we believe in redemption, and that's one of my favorite things. But we, for the most part, most of us still have a sense of pride of our country. And though we admit we're not perfect, we strive.
Well, and because, as much as I get down on how all the decisions are made, like how sometimes there is some absurdity at the bottom of democracy.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Like the mob is very wise on Election Day, but then they have to be policed incredibly strongly by the very people the wise mob voted in. Like it's just,
yeah.
at times it gets a little much. I mean, in any form of government, even a so-called dictatorship, you're going to need a support of the mass of the population.
Yeah.
Or else you ain't going to survive. So I do, though, love what is uniquely American, is that somebody who wasn't born here, who wanted to escape tyranny and true dictatorship, who wanted to find opportunity and freedom, in particular the freedom to speak her mind, can succeed in this country enough to then run for Congress and has every right in this country to tell one of the most elitist people that you can think of, and I'm not even using that as an insult, just a member of the elite, an immigrant, not even born here, can dress down the elite in this country and might even beat the elite in an upcoming election. I'm talking about,
Yeah.
I don't know if you saw this.
Oh, I saw it.
Lily Tang Williams. She's a congressional candidate from New Hampshire.
She laid down some truth.
And she is, I believe, Chinese and left China, communist China. And she ripped into this woman, her candidate, or her opponent, who's the Democratic candidate.
That lady don't know what hit her.
Now, this lady is, by the way, the wife of the National Security Advisor, Jake Sullivan. So, yes, when I say elite, it's not an insult. It's just true.
It's the definition.
And I'm stealing now from a guy named Yuan Yi Zhu. He says, America is great because you can be gold-plated elite. Groton, Yale Law, the deep state, married to the National Security Advisor, and you have to debate an insane libertarian Chinese immigrant mom who will insult you in broken English, and she may beat you at the election. So here's what I'm talking about, folks. And I watch this and go, man, ain't that America? Let's listen in.
The results will trickle down to hardworking people. I take a very different approach. I believe that the middle class deserves a tax cut, and I believe that we will do a lot for this country by ensuring that we don't continue this disastrous tax policy.
Okay, before Lily Tang Williams even jumps in, just how polished the other woman is. Like, polished answer. She's attractive, well, groomed, so to speak, all these things. Well dressed. And you can see the whole time. Look at the shot, Eddie. Look at the scowl on Lily's face.
Friend of mine's wife. I know that look very well.
So let's hear this whole thing.
Results will trickle down to hardworking people. I take a very different approach. I believe that the middle class deserves a tax cut, and I believe that we will do a lot for this country by ensuring that we don't continue this disastrous tax policy.
Ms. Tang-Williams.
You are wealthy. You're worth $20 million to $30 million. How do you know about regular people suffering? Do you go shopping, go to Walmart, buy food? I talk to those people. And you pretend to be a renter in Nashua. A few months ago, moved back to run for this open seat with millions of dollars from Washington, D.C. insiders. And the millions of dollars, I don't have money to run a TV ad. And you pretend you are poor, complain rent is so high. You couldn't save that apartment for other people to rent in Nashua. Just go back to your $2 million home in Portsmouth. Please don't say that, because you do not understand regular people's concern. People cry in my arms on this issue.
Yes.
Woo. Beautiful. And I love somebody being called out that way.
Oh, yeah.
By somebody who is as genuine as the day is long.
She didn't expect that, though, did she, Joey?
Yeah, and she's shaking her head. No, it is true. You moved here, you rented, all of a sudden, just to run for this seat, while you have millions of dollars flowing in from D.C. from all your buddies, and you're going to sit there and pretend, I understand how inflation is hurting. No, you don't.
I just love to see, people like that getting called out.
And you got to love a first-generation American jumping in on this. So that made me very happy over the weekend. Lily Tang Williams. I hope she wins in New Hampshire.
I hope so, too.
There are weird things happening. New Hampshire's where libertarians try to do the Free State Project. They're
Right.
still ongoing with it, where it's like, if we're a libertarian, let's all move to New Hampshire.
Take over.
And
How's that going?
it's been slow.
Okay.
Slowly, though, there is some change at the state political level. They are electing people.
Okay.
And in many ways, Lily Tang Williams is a libertarian, even though she's running as a Republican. And an interesting thing is happening where you're seeing a lot of big names in the libertarian world, not the nominee Chase Oliver, And there's some folks who are part of the Libertarian Party, they're going to go that way. But let's say folks who are unaffiliated, as libertarians are known to be, that are saying, yeah, I got a lot of problems with Trump, but he ain't Liz Cheney. He ain't this machine.
Right. It's not the war machine. That's for sure.
And so it will be amazing if New Hampshire moves a certain direction because the free state libertarians decide to go in a particular direction towards Trump, despite their ideals. Who knows? I don't know what's going to happen tomorrow. I don't think anybody knows that for a fact. Now, of course, over the weekend, the latest thing that really got people worked up, justice for Peanut.
Oh, yeah.
Justice for Peanut. They took away a man's pet squirrel and killed the squirrel. I think this is New York State.
Yep. It's a ridiculous story.
This squirrel was with his owner, internet sensation.
Oh, big time.
And he really did have the damn squirrel trained.
Yeah. Yep.
Well, the squirrel comes sit next to him. He could pet the squirrel, feed the squirrel. The squirrel was a rock star online.
Yep.
And apparently you can't have that squirrel. It's an illegally owned vermin, and we're going to take it from you and kill it.
And kill it. Right.
And so that went absolutely viral. And of course, given the Trump campaign has become all about that meme magic, here's Don Jr. and J.D. Vance talking about justice for Peanut.
They know that's coming across our border, and they allowed it to happen anyway. This is not sane. They're not worried about any of that. They'll allow that to happen. But if someone adopts a baby pet squirrel, justice for Peanut. No, but think about it. Our government will let in 16,000 rapists, they'll let in 13,000 murderers, they'll let in 600,000 criminals across our border. But if someone has a pet squirrel without a permit, they go in there and kill the squirrel. Think about it. That's the Democrat Party. That's where they'll go. That's their overreach. They want to control every aspect of your life. The big stuff, the stuff that matters, the stuff that's killing our kids, destroying our neighborhoods. That's different. We got to follow the woke playbook. Change it all on November 5th. Yes, it is. Change it all. So
I don't think Don Jr.'s got what his dad's got.
Nah, it takes a little while to dial that in.
No, I just think he doesn't have it. Like, I'm not saying he's a bad guy. He doesn't have the charisma, the X factor.
I don't know. When I used to watch Trump back when he was on Oprah and all that, I wasn't a fan. Thought he was a little bit cocky.
Really?
Yep.
Well, coming up, I think if there's ever going to be another Trump that does really well, it's going to be Barron Trump.
Oh, yeah, no doubt. I love
that kid's a rock star. What is he, 6'9"?
Yeah. But the memes say, hey, you guys, you're going after the wrong Trump.
Who knows?
And by the way, that wasn't just the squirrel there. They also killed his raccoon. They raided these people's house, made them sit outside for 5 hours while they went through their house. They seized the raccoon. They seized the squirrel. These people run a rescue. They have horse rescue and everything.
Yeah. So they love animals and they know how to take care of them.
Yeah. How can you defend any of this? I mean, that when I read that, it's like that's something you
It's the law.
That's the laws that we're going to enforce, then we got some problems because we're not enforcing the laws that affect you, me, and everybody else.
Again,
and
we're a nation of too many.
A death sentence?
Way too many laws.
If you have that, it's just a death sentence. That's just that.
Not for the person, but
for the squirrel.
For the squirrel, yeah.
It's just a death sentence.
How do you execute a squirrel? Seriously, who's signing up to execute a squirrel? What sort of psychopaths and sadists are at the animal control in New York State?
In my day, I grew up in Highland Gardens, and a hunter, I executed many squirrels, but they weren't pet squirrels.
Right, and they probably had it coming.
Oh, they did.
Anyway, here's J.D. Vance jumping in on this.
So I know Don's fired up about Peanut the squirrel. We were on the way down here from Cincinnati. He was like, is it really the case that the Democrats murdered the Elon Musk of squirrels? And I said, yeah, it sounds like, have you seen the videos of this squirrel? He's a genius, or he was, unfortunately. But the same government that doesn't care about hundreds of thousands of illegal immigrant criminals coming into our country doesn't want us to have pets. the craziest thing.
Justice for PETA, folks.
That's just what's so crazy.
Justice for PETA. But ain't that America? Ain't that America? That a man can suffer a stroke in the middle of an election, a United States Senate election, and still get elected, even though he cannot speak a word. That man not only goes on to be a United States Senator, he becomes a maverick of the Senate. He doesn't toe the line. He is his own man. And he ends up slowly recovering from that stroke on the biggest podcast in the world.
Did you watch the whole thing?
No, I just saw a few clips.
I made 20 minutes of it before I got so angry. I had to turn it off because that
First
you got
Democrats
this
saying,
guy
hey,
in
we need a
Congress.
secure border.
Just for the record,
it's a
he
significant
has
issue.
Google Translate
And if
running
I-
all the time.
Oh, really?
All the time. So he can have closed caption of everything you say. That way he understands it. Joe Rogan asked him the same question 5 freaking times, and he still couldn't answer it through the Google Translate. And it was not a hard question.
Well, here it is.
First Democrats saying, hey, though, we need a secure border. It's a significant issue. And if I thought there was any kinds of issues, and I've been very vigilant throughout, I've been actively involved in those kinds of things, and I've never witnessed those kinds of a thing.
But what do you mean by issues? Like what kind of issues you're talking about? You're talking about people letting people in order to get votes?
Well, it's not. There's not that level kinds. I don't think there's that level kinds of organization.
But there is an organization that's moving these people to swing states. There's a significant number of these people that are illegal immigrants that have made their way to swing states. And then there's been calls for amnesty. There's been calls for allowing these people to have a pathway to citizenship and allow them to vote. The fear that a lot of people have is that this is a coordinated effort to take these people that you're allowing to come into the country, then you're providing them with all sorts of services like food stamps and housing and setting them up, then providing a pathway to amnesty, and then you would have voters that would be significantly voting towards the Democrats because they're the people that enabled them to come into the country in the first place and provided them with those services. This is a big fear that people have, and that you're rigging this system and that this will turn all these states into essentially locked blue like California is.
Well, it's immigration is always going to be a tough issue in our nation. I had as a professor in grad school, Alan Simpson, and he was a United States senator. He was Wyoming, and he was actually a pro-choice Republican. I mean, how rare that would be. Well, it doesn't exist now. And he said, you are never going to have any meaningful immigration kinds of legislation. He's like, because both sides, that's useful for them, and it's going to be back and forth. And he said that 25 years ago.
Useful meaning the debate, having it always a political
it's
talking
useful
point.
for one side or the other. It's
Right.
useful, and he said they were never going to be, and he said that in 1999.
Mhm.
And I voted for the border deal, and that went down. And he said that 25 years ago, and that was absolutely true now, that they had an opportunity to do a comprehensive border, bipartisan, and that went down because Trump, he declared that's a bad deal after it was negotiated with the other side.
But didn't that deal also involve amnesty? And didn't that deal also involve a significant number of illegal aliens being allowed into the country every year? I think it was 2 million people. So it was still the same sort of situation, and their fear is exactly what I talked about, that these people will be moved to swing states, and that will be used to essentially rig those states and turn them blue forever.
What do you say, Fetterman?
Well, I'm not really sure if that's what's in play. I think it's really it's important that we have to have an honest conversation.
But doesn't that seem logical, though? If you have a significant number of people that are being moved into swing states that have come across the border illegally, and then you've provided them with all these services, you provided them with food stamps, EBT, you've provided them with housing. You could, if you gave those people amnesty and allowed those people to vote, and it was very organized, You're talking about 75,000 votes over a few counties that switched everything over to the Republicans. You could see how you import 10 million people over the course of 4 years illegally, and then move a significant number of them to swing states,
Right.
and then provide them with all these services, and then give them a path to citizenship. You could essentially rig those states.
Undeniably, immigration is changing our nation. I mean, I haven't spent a lot of time in Texas, but it's very clear that immigration has remade Texas, and I think it's for a good thing.
Wow. So that's an amazing exchange for a lot of reasons. Number one, actually, I think Fetterman's recovered fairly well. Given where he was. No, he's had trouble as it went on.
It was awful.
Yeah.
Even somebody just texted me. They made it through about 15 minutes. They couldn't take it.
Because he just couldn't speak?
Couldn't speak. It was frustrating because it almost at one point it seemed pretend. Then you kind of felt sorry for the guy.
Right. Oh, yeah.
And then I'm like, okay, I just got so frustrated because there's not a bigger puppet in this world than him. And I figured that out in that amount of time.
But there's so much from that takeaway. One thing Fetterman said, citing Alan Simpson, is true, that I think this has for the Uniparty, for the establishment interest in the Republicans, a big corporate Republicans, like the Mitch McConnell wing of the
100%.
Republican Party, and Democrats for the longest time. It has been a very useful football that we never solve the issue. We just kick it back and forth, and we pretend to do comprehensive reform.
Yeah.
And just coming back to the other thing he brought up that is now a talking point this election cycle, and I called it when it first came out. Damn you, James Langford. But you know what? I don't even blame Senator Langford. I can't prove this, but I think Senator James Langford, one of the most conservative members of the United States Senate, he was strong-armed by Mitch McConnell. I think James Langford is a creature of McConnell and whatever interest and donors that backed them.
Yeah.
They told him, you better go into that room, big boy, and you hammer out this so-called bipartisan deal that a lot of establishment Republicans would love and be willing to work with. Because what? Cheap labor, all these other things keep the spigot going. And then, by the way, Democrats keep getting more people in. So both like the establishment aspects of it win. Win-win.
Right.
And then it's, of course, trotted out as this great bipartisan reform. When I believe 6 Democrats voted against it. And most of the Republicans.
Yep.
But because the leadership gets to control the press conversation about this, it now gets to be used as a talking point in the presidential race. And this is, again, the dishonesty is so deep. Like, I don't even think Fetterman was being dishonest there. I think Fetterman was saying what he really believed. But he had been fed bullcrap. So much bullcrap.
I honestly don't think that dude knows what he believes. I honestly don't.
I haven't watched it, so I've only seen that
I didn't
clip.
make it long. I made it about 20 minutes. And I'm telling you, man, it got so frustrating to think that this is what we're doing. We did this, all this bending of the rules and all this niceness to have this as a leadership. We're going the wrong direction. This is why we're going the wrong direction.
But Fetterman's inability to speak, though, has come in handy. Do you remember that hearing with all the big bank CEOs and COOs and all this stuff where he's like, why you get bailed out and everyday people not? And it's like, that's how the question should be asked. Just make it simple. Make it straightforward.
And I hate that he was the one that did that, but it kind of also shows you he's on a different level than the other people.
Gracious. This is part of the program brought to you by Clearwater's Property Management. And there at Clearwater's, Reed Waters and the team, they're ready to help you with tree removal, tree trimming, and stump grinding. And, you don't have to wait till the tree falls.
You don't want to wait till the tree falls.
No, because it usually means property damage.
Yes.
It means you're going to have to call some of our other sponsors.
Right. If you can get them to cut it down, well, they can kind of control where it goes, Joey.
Exactly. Exactly right. And you can tell whether or not that tree is healthy or not before it falls.
Yeah.
Or it could be, it looks fine, but every time a big storm rolls through, the winds pick up, that 80-footer is swaying about 8 to 10 feet in each direction.
Yeah.
And even if it's a strong tree, you sure about that root network?
Right.
So you need to get Clearwaters out there to remove that tree if it's making you nervous. And of course, they can do tree trimming, cutting back overhanging branches or branches hitting the side of the house, or maybe you're tired of that bush just hitting you every time you're going in through the driveway. Or maybe you're tired of that ugly stump of the yard. They do stump grinding.
Good idea.
Let's check them out today. You can always call Reed and the team at 430-0376. That's 430-0376. And be sure to tell them that Joey and Eddie, those fellas on the radio, sent you. Let's go to line 3. You're on there. Who's this?
You guys remember the skit on SNL where they had like the 4 characters, and I think John Lovitz was the Indian?
Vaguely.
And I forget who was Frankenstein, but that's who Federer reminds me of, is Frankenstein.
Yes.
From that skit.
100%.
Like, I can't hate him. I'm sorry. There's a part of me that's like, this guy, because of what he's been through, just comes across as like very genuine. I don't agree with him on a lot of stuff, but he doesn't come across as like all these snakes, these silver-tongued snakes up there.
Joey, people that talk to me about flat Earth, I know that they're good people.
Yeah.
And I like to try to believe them.
Right.
But they're wrong.
Oh, fine. That's cool. But you
I
don't
like
hate them.
Nope.
No.
I like them, but I know.
Right.
You know.
But then there are people that you agree with. You're like, that bastard. He is not a good person.
That's half my friends.
Yeah, you know, and in a very, very concerning statistic I was watching this morning on one of the news programs about how much heavy weighted the voting bloc is for suburban women towards Kamala Harris. And, you know, I was like sitting there thinking to myself, and it falls right into immigration. I'm thinking, you know, that it's like the march they had in D.C. for abortion rights, I guess, this past weekend.
Mm-hmm.
It's like you've got all these brain dead women who are, that's their sole issue that they're going to vote on.
Yeah.
And it's like, I might not be able to feed my kids because groceries are too much. I can't put gas in my car, can't pay my rent or mortgage. And by God, and if an illegal attacks me and rapes me, at least I can get an abortion.
Yeah, man. I mean,
you're right.
That's the mentality of, you know, these women that are thinking like that. And it's just absolute lunacy to put, you know, your entire future and the future of your family on one issue like that.
Well, it's the nature of our politics, and it really is going to be about turnout. Who turns out, men or women, more so. I think that is going to play big in some of these battleground states. But, you know, sometimes men and women come together. They're able to, you know, and when I see this, I go, ain't that America? Here's Doug Emhoff, the second gentleman, stumping for his wife, for his main squeeze, Kamala Harris. Let's hear you sell her, Doug.
Kamala did what Kamala always does. She just put her head down and she went to work.
Oh,
Doug. That's
very unfortunate.
You dirty dog, Doug.
That's just not a good visual.
Oh, wow. Got to get that work in.
Especially when you think of the Seinfeld skit about the two faces. With Kamala Harris.
Oh, man. You know, you got to wonder sometimes, do like internal battles come out in public? So, so sorry about that gaffe, honey. It's like, you know what you did.
That's, yeah.
You know what you just
Dude,
did.
that one's coming out post-election. That will be talked about. Them two.
No kidding. Have a good one, guys.
Win or lose.
Kamala did what Kamala always does. She just put her head down and she went to work.
Yeah, win or lose. That's going to be discussed.
Line 1, you're on there. Who's this?
Hey, what's up, Joey? JD, how you doing?
What's up, man?
Oh, not a whole lot. You know what? I really got to say it. You hit the nail on the head, but it does scare me that, you know, they seem to come together more in the Democratic Party. Matter of fact, so much so that they become one. Two, the whole peanut thing is, you know, it's sad to say that they can get such a force together to go after a squirrel, but yet they can't stop crime on the streets, but yet they will arrest a veteran for protecting a lady and doing their job. It's an atrocious society that we live in at this point. But I do have to say, wouldn't it be awesome to start an argument between Fetterman and Biden and just, or even a conversation and just let them go at it for about 30 minutes?
I would pay to see that. Now, especially if they both they're like bedmates and like Walter Reed, and then you get like a cameo appearance from Senator Brett. because she just loves everybody.
She does love everybody.
And like she went to visit Fetterman. They became friends
Right.
With his stint there. Actually, pretty heartfelt, wonderful story. But yeah, it's like a sitcom where these two guys become buddy there in the hospital.
Hey, but you really shouldn't be so hard on Cocaine Mitch. I mean, Cocaine Mitch is Turtle. He's been around for a long time. Maybe it's time for him to retire, but don't be so hard on Cocaine Mitch. I mean, he does a lot of bringing dope into the communities and everything else. That was back in the mid-2000s when he earned that nickname. Cocaine Mitch, who would have thought? Breaking Bad.
Ain't gonna snort itself.
That's right.
All right, well, good show, guys. I'm going to keep tuning in.
Appreciate it, JD.
How Katie befriended Fetterman reminds me more and more of the Frankenstein.
It reminds me of this young Frankenstein.
Yeah.
You know the scene with the little girl at the
Yes.
well? It's like they're throwing the petals in, and they run out of flower petals. She goes, "What should we throw in now?"
You get my drift.
Or that look he gives the camera when was it Gene Hackman breaks the mug? It's great deadpan stuff. Seriously, Fetterman could be
100%
Frankenstein monster.
100%.
But again, you gotta the guy's been through it. You can hear it. It is amazing that he's a U.S. senator. It's kind of like I'd put him in the same category as George Santos.
You say amazing. I don't.
I think it's amazing.
I
love it when fraudsters and the mentally handicapped get positions of power. I think it's a great. It ain't that America.
Not supposed to be.
We'll be right back.
Want to carry News Talk in your pocket? Download the News Talk 93.1 app from the App Store. Available on iPhone and Android. Never miss a moment. Download now.
What'll it be, Joe?
Coffee and apple pie. Whoa, Mitch, what was that?
The lights? Oh, they always dim when the dishwasher turns on.
You should call Crosby Electric.
You think?
Overloaded circuits at your business can be dangerous. The experts at Crosby Electric can upgrade your electrical service to safely handle the load. And they can add receptacles where needed to eliminate overuse of extension cords.
Madge, I'd like to pay you. The problem is it's so dark in here I can't read my bill.
No, the problem is you're cheap.
Well, that's a problem too.
Effective, attractive lighting is essential for any business. Crosby Electric can help with a new lighting scheme that will give your business a fresh, exciting look. And they can recommend outdoor lighting for greater safety and security.
That'll be $4.50 for the coffee and pie, Joe.
Well, don't I get anything for recommending Crosby Electric?
Oh, yeah. Thank you, Joe.
You're welcome.
Don't put off essential electrical upgrades for your business. Call 272-2085 or visit crosbyelectric.com.
What's your biggest investment? More than likely, it's your home. So treat it that way when you hire a painting contractor. With PBS Painting, there are no gimmicks, no $99 specials. Just quality painting and someone who treats your home with the same respect that you do. At PBS Painting, we have been painting for years and look forward to many more years to come. With PBS Painting, the job gets prepped properly, whether it's cleaning, scraping, or priming. We always use quality products, which is a must for a quality paint job. So if you're looking for a painter that doesn't need upfront money and is on the job at all times, then please give me a call. Scott Bowers and PBS Painting, 294-5122. That's PBS Painting, 294-5122. Look at some of our work on Facebook at PBS Painting Montgomery.
Are you tired of the mainstream media's biased reporting? Do you want to stay informed on the news that really matters to you? Look no further than 1819 News. At 1819 News, we bring you the latest in Alabama news, politics, sports, culture, and more. We've assembled a team of journalists with Alabama values dedicated to the truth and the truth alone. Visit us at 1819news.com today. That's 1819news.com. Subscribe to our newsletter. Honest News, Alabama Values. This hour of news and views is brought to you by our good friends at Alabama Home Mortgage. Alabama Home Mortgage, 567-4223. Visit them on the web at myalabamahomemortgage.com. NMLS number 1586368. An equal housing lender.
Trustworthy, accurate, immediate. Carrying your voice across the river region. News Talk 93.1 FM WACV.
Joey Clark.
Welcome back to News and Views in the afternoon. We're trying out a different camera with Eddie here. You don't seem happy.
I'm good.
Okay.
It's just a lot of detail. I gotta start wearing some makeup. So.
Yeah. Hey, let's go to the phone and talk to Patrick. Hey, Patrick.
What's up, Patrick?
Hey, how are you guys doing?
Pretty good.
That's good, man. You guys have had the chair of the Democratic Party on today. You got the vice chair of the Libertarian Party. Maybe John Wall will call in next.
Happy for all comers.
That's right.
Absolutely. I was going to say, kind of at the core of the same issue you were talking about with that immigration bill, I've heard a few people come into the show over the last couple of months talk about health care and access to hospitals, access to ambulances, but they never seem to talk about what the core of that issue is, at least in my mind here in Alabama, which is certificates of need. And I don't really know why that is.
Yeah, I think it's only something libertarians really think of, and there might be a few Republicans that are hip to the issue. I think it does create huge supply side restrictions, and it doesn't allow for creative ways of, say, assembling medical units and putting things together. It sort of rewards the big players, which we can see most of them are having a lot of financial trouble.
Mm-hmm.
Well, absolutely, and it limits competition. It essentially allows the competitors to decide when they're going to get a new competitor on the block, and that's just not useful because you have to do it for ambulance services, you have to do it for hospitals, you have to do it for moving services in some states. I'm not sure if you have to do it in Alabama, but it's really limiting as far as access to different things in the economy. And so I don't know why they don't talk about that, because they want to talk about government intervention a lot of times, but they don't want to talk about how that intervention is limiting access in itself. So it seems disingenuous to me.
Well, and again, it's one of those things of the institution's been there a while. I mean, it must be there for a good reason. Right. It's sort of old Chesterson's fence. And it's like, well, maybe we need to understand why the frickin' fence was built and then tear it down. Dadgummit.
Yeah, absolutely. And I just wanted to point out one other thing is, you do get the opportunity to vote tomorrow, and that's great. Love the opportunity to vote. But, I mean, if you look.
We lost you there, Patrick.
Lost you, Patrick.
Sir?
Patrick.
Seems like he was about to make a very good point, too.
He went to a tunnel.
Oh, well. Call us back, Patrick.
Call us back, Patrick.
Let's go to Papa B. Hey, Papa B.
Papa B.
Hey. You know, one of the reasons I love politics is the spectacle of it all.
Mm-hmm.
It's like a three-ring circus, all of everything going on at once.
Especially this election cycle.
I don't mind the work. And that's one of the reasons Trump is really sort of a man for the times. He's an entertainer, man.
Well, and
he understands.
Before you keep going, my op-ed coming out tomorrow morning for 1819news.com is literally called "The Moments That Made the 2024 Election an American Spectacle."
Great minds think alike.
We're on the same page, man.
Let me tell you, so she did what she always does. She put her head down and went to work. Doug, I think you said that on purpose.
I think he did.
That just doesn't sound like it, off the cuff. I think he thought about that one a little bit before he said it. Boy, is he trying to undermine her or what? The reaction of the crowd, I'm surprised that the crowd didn't just have let out a gasp.
I mean, it was just an honest mistake, especially for folks who didn't hear it.
Kamala did what Kamala always does. She just put her head down and she went to work.
I can't believe it.
Doesn't get better with time.
Oh, man, that's almost like, I think Lindsey Graham was pointing out, Joe Biden's trash comment. He thinks that Joe Biden did that on purpose, to try to undermine Kamala. I wouldn't put it past them all, but it's still, maybe they already know that, the election is kind of a wrap here.
Sometimes it's fun to imagine it's like the guys from Impractical Jokers are in the back room with the earpiece. Like, now say this. Yeah.
That's exactly right. So, just one other thing else. when you look at the array of everything that goes on naturally in all these elections that we've had, really all of my life in years, we see the polls, know the polls. Well, there just aren't really that many that I believe are really trying to get at the truth. I think many of them are politically motivated. I think we can probably prove that without too much effort. And, one thing, there's two things. First of all, if it is going to try to be a close election, if the Democrats are going to try to cheat, they've got to keep it close. They've got to keep it close in the polls, and so they manipulate those polls, especially to skew it toward that closeness. Okay. The other thing is the idea of it being touch and go. Whether the networks, the media, all these media, this is money to them, man. If it wasn't close, well, they're not get the kind of viewership or advertising that they can get in. This is about money to them too. So there's just a broad spectrum of things that go on. I guess some people believe everything they see, but that's not me. But anyway, interesting. I hope that we got some good news, and I doubt if we'll get it early, but if we do, that'd be great. I expect Trump to proclaim victory. I expect Democrats to call foul. I expect there to be all kind of shenanigans that go on between now and whenever they get away with it.
Well, we shall
But
see.
let's see what happens.
Yep. Appreciate it, Papa B. See you, Papa B.
This part of the program brought to you by Alabama Home Mortgage. And there at Alabama Home Mortgage, Kim Williams and Madeline Cannon are ready to help you with, buying a home.
That's right.
Could be it's the time for you. Could be you just moved here, you want to get it done quick, you want to get it done right with a great local trusted mortgage company. That is Alabama Home Mortgage.
Sure is.
No surprises on closing day, and they'll walk with you every step of the way from pre-approval all the way to closing day. Now, what they're really helping a lot of folks out with these days are refinance deals. And especially for you folks that have been on the bubble, that you've been waiting, seeing what's going to happen with the election, you need to get a plan together today.
Right.
Call them today at 567-4223 and just get to know Kim and Madeline and let them get to know you and your goals, why you want to refinance that mortgage. And it's not like you got to pull the trigger that day when you talk to them on the phone,
right?
But it gets a plan together. So when the time is right, you can make an informed decision. And whether you're looking to reinvest in your property, reinvest in your family, maybe you're going to take cash out for something fun. It's your money. It's your wealth and equity you built up. So let them help you there at Alabama Home Mortgage. That number, 567-4223. That's 567-4223. Or you can always visit them and apply online at myalabamahomemortgage.com. There is a difference in mortgage companies. Let Kim and Madeline prove that to you today. NMLS number 1586368. An equal housing lender.
Rich Thomas Weather, a service of Riverside Chevrolet Wetumpka. If it's Chevy, it's Riverside. Best price, best selection. Check them out on the web at riversideusa.net.
Hi, everybody. This week has started off dry, but we do have rain returning to our forecast soon. Tonight, cloudy, mild, overnight low temperature 65. Tomorrow, election day, partial sunshine, high in the low to mid 80s. Risk of scattered showers holding off till after midnight on Tuesday night. Then scattered showers at times Wednesday and Thursday. Some much needed raindrops, we hope. Still warm with highs in the lower 80s. From the Blue Water Weather Center, this is Rich Thomas.
For the lowest prices around on flooring and DIY flooring installation supplies, Budget Floors and More is your new best friend. Luxury vinyl plank, carpet, ceramic tile, floor installation supplies, and more with prices lower than the big box stores. Budget Floors and More, Hunter Lane across from Del Rey to Publix.
Want to take the price of new flooring and tear it in half? You can during Prattville Carpet's biggest sale of the year, going on right now. Save 50% on select luxury vinyl plank and select carpets in stock. Stop into the store to register to win a brand new quartz countertop up to 75 feet until November 20th. No purchase necessary.
Hi, I'm Ray Bowles from Prattville Carpet. If you're looking for waterproof carpet, hardwood, laminate, vinyl plank, or ceramic tile, call us today for your free measurement.
Shop now and save big at PrattvilleCarpet.com.
Prattville Carpet, we're more than just carpet.
This hour of news and views is brought to you by our good friends at Alabama Home Mortgage. Alabama Home Mortgage, 567-4223. Visit them on the web at myalabamahomemortgage.com. NMLS number 1586368. An equal housing lender.
All the headlines the mainstream media won't touch. Your News Talk station. News Talk 93.1 FM WACV.
Joey Clark.
Welcome back. Playing Eddie's favorite song that I've done.
If you would have dressed up as Celine,
Yeah?
and came out with this, that would have been amazing.
Yeah.
Let's keep that in the repertoire maybe
Yeah,
next year.
keep your pants on. Let's go to Michael Cohen from Cohen's Electronics and Appliances. Hey, Michael, how you doing?
Hey, Joey, how are you?
Oh, I'm good. I'm ready for tomorrow to be over and done with. Yeah. But what's the score there at Cohen's today?
It is 21-3.
Ooh, okay.
You know, we've had some really nice customers come in today, and one of the ladies that came in is getting a nice Samsung television, but she had another customer that she's friends with that came in, and he needed a remote control for his TV that's about 6 years old, and it is so refreshing to hear a customer come in and brag to the other customer everything that they bought here. And he just kept listing and listing and listing items after items. And, we're really blessed and fortunate to have customers that do have the confidence in Cohen's, and they keep coming back. And he told me how he rode his bicycle to Normandale from his grandmother's house, and how his dad would put it in the trunk of his car to go visit grandma, and then he would ride and see my dad and buy some 45s, and not a Trump 45, a 45 record. And anyway, it's just really cool.
I love that, man.
Yeah.
Like, and I'm that way. I think my grandfather, my dad, like everybody's bought from y'all, and there's a reason generations keep coming back. And yeah, that's like one of the easiest sales, right? Where you don't have to do anything. It's just talk to this other happy customer. I love that sort of thing.
Right.
So y'all check out Cohen's today. You can always, peruse, shop from home at thinkcohens.com. But if you really want to get the sense of Cohen's, you got to stop by the Boulevard, 2515 Eastern Boulevard. See those great products in person, whether the big TVs or the new appliances you're eyeing. And then, of course, get to know Michael and the team there, and be sure to tell them when you stop by that Joey, that fella on the radio, sent you.
That's right. Come see us. We're open Monday through Friday, 9 to 6. We're open on Saturdays, 9 to 4. You can come by and see us. You can call us at 277-8890. You can check us out online at Think Cohen's. But the best way is to come in, like you said, and look around, ask us some questions, let us ask you some questions, and let us help you make the right choice for whatever your needs are.
Well, I appreciate it as always, Michael, and I guess we'll talk again after the election on Wednesday.
Yes, sir. Y'all take care. Have a great day.
You
See
too,
you, Michael.
Let's go to Patrick real quick. He's calling back. Hey, Patrick.
Hey, man, sorry about that.
Oh, good.
I was going to say that you'll notice tomorrow when you go to vote, which it's a great opportunity that we have to vote, but that you won't have a lot of options in a lot of the races. You might have somewhere between 17 and 21 elections going on, but only maybe 3 or 4 will be contested. So you're really not getting a choice. And I think that's one of the core structural problems that we have, at least here in Alabama, where, yeah, you have a right to vote, but you don't actually get that many options.
Not in the general, yeah.
Exactly. And so, and that's because we have some of the harshest ballot access retention laws in the country, where you have to get 20% to retain your ballot access, either in the county or in the state. And we have some relatively harsh ballot access laws as well to even get on the ballot, to even attempt to retain. And so I just hope people see that tomorrow when they look at their ballots and notice, man, I actually don't have that many options when I do go to vote. And I have a quick question for you, Joey. If Donald Trump comes out and supports justice for Peanut, does he flip New York?
It's possible. I mean, anything is possible.
All right. I appreciate you guys, Joey.
Appreciate it, Patrick. And you got to love the meme magic that has ended this campaign. Whether it's the garbage truck or the Mickey D's visit or now justice for Peanut.
Speaking of the garbage truck, so Trump point of view, upset with Tony or led to a great thing, so not so?
I don't think he knows who Tony Hinchcliffe is.
Right. So the whole thing. All right, let's say the guy who booked Tony.
Yeah.
Think he's upset
I think
with
it's
him,
worked
and at
out.
the end you go,
I think
you know what?
I think it's worked out.
Me too.
Goodness gracious. It's like, and then LeBron James coming out complaining about Tony Hinchcliffe. It's like, oh, go wear another dress and play ball with your son or something.
Right. Why don't you,
Stupid celebrities, especially all the Avengers assembling. I almost told it to Senator Britt. It looks like Scarlett Johansson, Black Widow's gone to Gray Widow. And I'm not even talking about her hair. They all look emaciated.
Yeah.
Like Robert Downey does not look good. The only one who looks like healthy is Chris Evans. A big bearded lib.
They all need a cheeseburger.
But yeah, I just see these celebrities in these moments, and Ricky Gervais nailed it. It's like, hi, I know nothing about this, but vote for the person I was told to tell you about. Anyway, final hour coming up.
From the Riverside Chevrolet Master Control Center, this is WACV Cusana, News Talk 93.1 FM. When it's Chevy, it's Riverside.
With SRN News, I'm John Scott. Kamala Harris and Donald Trump both speeding toward the finish line ahead of Election Day. Harris spending all day in Pennsylvania, from Pittsburgh in the west to Philadelphia in the east. Trump has 4 rallies in 3 states on his schedule before closing out in Michigan. He'll stop twice in Pennsylvania, including the Pittsburgh area. This week, the Fed set to cut interest rates for a second time this year. A new tropical storm expected to form in the Caribbean and will bring heavy rain to Jamaica and the Cayman Islands and later to the southeast U.S. The New Orleans Saints have fired coach Dennis Allen. That comes a day after a loss at last place. Carolina extended the Saints' losing streak to 7 games. Stocks are lower. The Dow dropping 215 points. The NASDAQ 2 points in the red. This is SRN News.
Our nation's problems have been building for the past 50 years, and they're not going away overnight, which is why we must prepare now for a financial collapse that will affect the entire economy. The good news is there's an easy way to do that. Hi, I'm Dr. Ron Paul, and I believe everyone should consider a gold IRA from Birch Gold Group to diversify their IRA or 401k. Gold is a proven bedrock in almost every kind of economy. To learn more, get a free info kit from my trusted friends at Birch Gold by texting the word PREPARE to 989898. Don't wait until decades of government irresponsibility comes crashing down on your retirement. Get your free info kit on gold IRAs from the Birch Gold Group now. Text PREPARE to the number 989898.
Us or go to BlueWaterBroadcasting.com to find out how we can increase your return on investment. Blue Water Broadcasting, local folks helping local business.
For more information, send an email to digital@BlueWaterBroadcasting.com.
This is your roving reporter, and today I am talking with an elk. Hey man, Mr. Elk, I was just wondering, what do elk do to take care of their money? Well, like most smart folks, we call David Ernest. You mean Alabama's most favorite asset preservationist? That's him, man. We call him up at 334-279-7431 or 205-479-0839. I see. Yes, he is our preferred money man. The money man with the money plan. You've been paying attention. Well, could you give us those numbers one more time? 334-279-7431 or 205-479-0839. And I just want to try to give you a heads up, man. Oh, what's that? I'm not an elk. Not an elk, huh? Well, then, pray tell, what are you? Knights of Columbus. I am not even going to make a comment. Well, the baby liked it.
Rich Thomas Weather, a service of H&H Carpets, in stock specials on waterproof luxury vinyl plank and engineered hardwood flooring at blowout sale prices. H&H Carpet, across from Walmart on the Atlanta Highway.
Rich Thomas Weather. Hi, everybody. This week has started off dry, but we do have rain returning to our forecast soon. Tonight, cloudy, mild, overnight low temperature 65. Tomorrow, Election Day, partial sunshine, high in the low to mid 80s. Risk of scattered showers holding off till after midnight on Tuesday night. Then scattered showers at times Wednesday and Thursday. Some much-needed raindrops, we hope. Still warm with highs in the lower 80s. From the Blue Water Weather Center, this is Rich Thomas.
Thank you for voting ASE Credit Union the best credit union in the River Region 6 years in a row. As we celebrate our 70th anniversary, we are proud to be at the top of the list for the best credit union in the hearts of the communities we serve.
1819 News.
A whistleblower from within the Baldwin County election poll workers is telling 1819 News that recent work training included the instructions to allow for foreign nationals to vote. A woman named Jessie says she started to question these instructions from the election officials in Baldwin County and calling it unconstitutional for a non-U.S. citizen to be allowed to vote in our elections, and that a person presenting a driver's license is not confirmation that they also have U.S. citizenship, since foreign nationals can obtain a driver's license here. Jessie tells 1819 News that ever since she started questioning this decision and sounding the alarm, she has not been offered a position to help within the Baldwin County precincts, even though Jessie has worked as a poll worker for years prior to this election. The hotline to the Secretary of State's office for anyone else working the polls in Alabama who have questions and concerns about this latest instruction is 1-800-274-8683. More is written about this issue on the 1819 News website by Jennifer Oliver O'Connell. I'll be back with more Alabama stories after this.
On November 15th, you can have dinner with Eric Metaxas right here in Alabama. Metaxas, the author of Bonhoeffer and Letter to the American Church, will keynote 1819 News' first annual Albert Patterson Gala on November 15th at the Barber Motorsports Event Center in Birmingham. To learn more and sponsor a table, visit 1819news.com/gala. Again, that's Eric Metaxas on November 15th. Go to 1819news.com/gala to learn more.
Stolen weapons were found in Walker County after an investigation was conducted. Bubba Crockett is now facing charges of burglary and theft after 3 long guns and 2 pistols were discovered at his home, along with illegal drugs. All 5 of those were stolen firearms. I'm Andrea Tice.
For more news affecting Alabamians, go to 1819news.com. And while you're there, subscribe to the daily newsletter.
This hour of News and Views is brought to you by our good friends at Cole Plumbing, 279-8919. Cole Plumbing is number 1 in the number 2 business. You don't have to dig a hole. They have proprietary pipelining technology. Ask them about their tankless water heaters. Remember, when you have trouble with your bowl, call on Cole.
Hi, this is Bo Goodson from the Goodson Group with your updated market report. So far this year through MLS, there have been over 4,000 closings in the River region. Sellers have been getting on the average of over 97% of the listed price. In this ever-changing real estate market, I've seen more price reductions on listings over the last 3 months than I've seen in years. It's time to act for a buyer. So we have a greater supply of homes for people to see before they buy. We have an average price of $261,000 in our area. Local mortgage companies have come up with really attractive plans for first-home buyers, such as down payment assistance, lender credits to help on the closing costs, and buy-down plans to buy down the starting rate for borrowers. Investing in yourself and your community is life-changing for first-home homebuyers. You need a buyer agent to represent your interest and give you great advice. For all this information, call Bo Goodson at the Goodson Group at 221-2883 or 551-0225.
The views and opinions of the following program are solely those of the host and other contributors. These do not necessarily represent those of Liberty Acquisitions 825, Blue Water Broadcasting, its management, staff, or any advertisers. It's time for Montgomery's conversational radio show. It's News and Views on News Talk 93.1 FM. To join the conversation, call 272-9228.
This is the Trump country. We live in the Southeast. We drink sweet tea. We don't drink socialist Kool-Aid.
Joey Clark.
Welcome back to News and Views in the afternoon. I'm your host, Joey Clark. Eddie Bader in the studio with me.
What's up, buddy?
What's up, man?
Another day.
Oh, just another day?
Another day before the biggin.
I know, tomorrow.
I talked to my friend in Arizona. Just check her, how she's doing, how they're thinking.
Mm-hmm.
She is very confident about Nevada, going Trump's way.
Yeah.
I'm nervous, but she makes me have a little bit more confidence.
Here's the new final electoral map the day before the election from Real Clear Politics. It shows Trump winning 287 to 251 in the Electoral College, including taking Nevada, Arizona, Georgia, losing Wisconsin and Michigan, but winning North Carolina and Pennsylvania. Put him at 281.
That's kind of how we put it. When her and I were talking, we both put Pennsylvania in his camp.
You also have 538 forecasting a Trump victory of 287, 251. Trump has a forecast prediction 53% in his favor. Do you see the betting odds change like overnight?
Yeah,
the huge swing, like what whale dropped?
I was going to say what dropped.
Millions and millions and millions of dollars, not billions. You got to wonder about that. That's a little fishy. So, some polls that are publicly available look great for Trump. Others are saying, hold your horses. We've got some other polls that might show that Harris is going to pull this thing out. Honestly, folks, who knows? Let's go to Black Caesar. Hey, Black Caesar.
What's up, fellas? What's happening?
How you doing?
And I got a few topics to hit on. I don't want to be too long. How much time I got? About 10 minutes. Let me stop.
Oh, goodness.
Watching the Dallas Cowboy game. I ain't know if I was watching the Cowboys or the Auburn Tigers.
Oh, they both suck.
Yeah. Awful.
I was like, what is this? I forgot what day it was. Ain't know if I was Sunday night football, Monday night football, or Saturday SEC. Crazy. Now this may sound a little tasteless, but here, this talk radio. Has Kay Ivey called in and told why she fell out the other night?
No, she isn't.
That calls in and does the Kay Ivey.
Yeah, the latest report, she's doing all right, and that they did claim she was dehydrated.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but the latest is she's at home doing well. Is the quote?
There's a guy that calls in and does Kay Ivey. He cracks me up.
Yes, he does.
In the show,
cracks me up.
You can find problems on both sides of these people. DeMar figures, he got a couple of things that he went for that I was definitely against. That transgender thing, thingamajigger. And then the lady that's running against him.
Caroline Dobson?
She said,
Caroline Dobson?
Yeah, she said she's going to make the price of breakfast lower, but they're sitting at a restaurant eating breakfast. You think she'd be at the house cooking breakfast? That kind of commercial saying something like that. I mean, you go to a restaurant, breakfast is going to be high anyway. So you go to Cracker Barrel, try to eat breakfast. You're going to pay $13 almost for a plate for each person.
Yeah, but I remember when, I'd go to Chappie's here and eggs were a lot less expensive. You're right. It's expensive when you...
Ridiculously expensive to eat out now.
Right. But eggs at the grocery store ain't cheap either.
No.
But you think she'd be at the house cooking breakfast saying that instead of sitting in a restaurant saying that, regular people eat breakfast at home, not out every time. But you never know these days.
Well, I'm out of touch. I never eat at home.
Well, yeah, it didn't get that way, but I have to stop and eat out. My budget don't allow me to eat out every day. I may just get up and do a boiled egg early in the morning and have it ready when I walk out the door.
Not too shabby.
A lot cheaper, and if you leave another boiled egg, it'll hold you up for a while. For a minute.
Yeah, I think about it like how many calories does it cost? The cost per calorie. And so if you can get 800 something calories in for under $10, I think you're doing all right.
Yeah. Well, if you balance your budget, you can make it. A lot of people live above their means. That's one of the problems.
This is true.
A lot of people live above their means. You want to keep up with the Joneses and then complain about can't pay your bills, but you've been eating out and buying sodas and doing everything else instead of buying bottled water and getting the little things, put the juice in it to make it sweeten it up, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah, and just look at the average credit card debt. And some of that's folks had an emergency, they had to spend money, but some of that's just a rolling kind of credit line.
Oh, yeah, trying to keep up with the Joneses.
Yes, both sides got issues. You got the You got to be able to budget your money, no matter who's in office, whether Trump gets in or Kamala Harris gets in. You're gonna have to budget your money anyway, still, regardless, because that mortgage will kick your butt.
Yes, it will.
Have a good day, my friend.
Appreciate it, Black Caesar. 272-9228. That's 334-272-9228. Yeah, Governor Ivey's all right. But apparently that did happen at a Caroline Dobson event at Sweet Creek.
Yeah.
Great establishment. According to Gina Maloa, Ivey's communications director, she was resting at the governor's mansion after being evaluated by paramedics at the event. While campaigning for Caroline Dobson at an event this evening, the governor got dehydrated, Mayola said. She received fluids and was evaluated on site out of precaution. She immediately felt better and is at home doing well this evening. Rumors immediately swirled Ivey had been sent to the hospital. However, Mayola said those claims were untrue. Speculation over Ivey's health has surrounded her since before she became governor.
She's got a little age on her.
Yeah. But I'm glad she's all right.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
Hate to see something like that.
And
it's something I, put my ugly butt out there to address. When all the rumors were swirling when she was running in 2022, it's like, I don't know any of this stuff for a fact. I'm not going to pretend like I'm not stumping for anybody else to beat Kay Ivey. But I think there is a very serious conversation that we're just kind of muddling through, like making up as we go along. Like, think of all these old people in Congress.
Dude, I've said it from the get-go.
What is the responsibility of somebody to actually reveal how they're, and we saw it with Joe Biden in particular.
That's why. I'm sorry, but if I don't trust you to drive down Atlanta Highway, how the hell can I trust you to be my governor? And I'm tired of well, she's a nice lady. I'm tired of all that. That's why Alabama's in the shape we're in. That's why we have all this potential, but can't do a damn thing with it.
272-9228. Did you see that Quincy Jones passed away?
Yeah, it hurt my feelings a little bit this morning.
Why? He lived a long, great life. 91 years.
He did. He lived a long, great life. It's just it's kind of another passing. I mean, I'm getting older.
Big deal,
things
man.
are, I'm telling you, man, things around me that I grew up being solid are no longer
See,
there.
of course, you think of Michael Jackson, those great albums they put together. Quincy at the helm there, production really was something they would polish, take years to put an album out with some of the best session musicians.
Oh, yeah.
I always think of the Austin Powers theme, Soul Bossa Nova.
Of course.
That's
Of course you
Quincy.
do.
Still a great song. Still freaking love that song. But then I saw trending, We Are the World. Never been a fan.
When it first came out, I got caught up in that. Thought it was a wonderful thing. And then as I got older and started reading some of the truths behind it, what a scam.
Never
What
a
a
fan.
scam.
Well, and I love the clips, too, where they're recording it and you
Yes.
can just see them singer. And Michael Jackson's amazing. The guy was a once-in-a-lifetime talent. He's nailing every frickin' note. Then let's go to Cyndi Lauper. It's like a screeching goat.
It's the
Huey
political
Lewis
stuff.
even was having trouble.
Oh, the political. But again, reading the stuff that happened behind the scenes, you go back and watch that video about who was angry and who was ticked off. You see it, every bit of that in the video. You see the ones who wanted to sing and didn't get a chance. And then you see the ones that shouldn't have sang, and you see people look up like, oh my God, like Cyndi Lauper. Y'all, really? This is what we're doing?
And of course, my favorite, Prince, refused to join in, and he even wrote a song after being dogged out about it called Hello. It's a good song.
He's just so misunderstood, that Prince guy.
No, I think the point he makes in the song is plenty of hunger here at home. And how about, and he was known after he died, it came out, he was helping people like crazy. Yeah. But it's like, why are y'all putting out this whole huge album and like this big show of things?
That's what Americans do. We care about everybody else except ourselves.
I just remember remember when Frank Zappa gets caught up in the whole PMRC censorship things, like, it's not suitable for children. And he's, well, Mr. Zappa, what songs do you think should be unsuitable for children? And just without missing a beat, goes, We Are the World. And you can see even the news anchor's like, damn, that's good. I've just never been a fan.
Yeah, it's a good movement. But again, I was young. I thought, man, these people are doing the right thing. And yeah, it's a bunch of crap.
And as much as I love music, I wonder what it is like to have a mind like Quincy Jones. Like how knowing what you know about music and how you can see it more so than the average bear. Those sort of cars don't pass you every day.
Also, the talent that he could see in people,
Mm-hmm.
the raw talent that he could see. I mean, he literally put his own money behind just, a lot of them nobody else would.
Well, there's one guy he found who's British. Like, I think he's half British, half Chinese, Jacob Collier.
Mm-hmm.
And he's this kid who does like these harmonies with himself that are like micro notes and like crazy stuff. It is remarkable. He discovered him after one of his videos got viral. And yeah, I mean, so we kept finding true talents over and over again. But it's, there's an absence there. That one hurt a little bit when I saw it too. But again, like, how long you want me here? I'm 91. Like, it'd be nice to be to 100 and, these sorts of things.
But it's the fact that he's no longer here. Granted,
yeah,
chances are him bringing something new and incredible to light tomorrow for us to hear, probably not so much. But it was kind of nice to know he was still there.
272-9228. This part of the program brought to you by All Pro Heating, Air, and Electrical. And they're at All Pro. They're ready to help you out with a look over of that HVAC system.
Yeah, buddy.
Which 'tis the time of the year. I mean, you like in the middle of the day, it's kind of like still toasty and humid.
It was, I think 86.
So you still want to be running the AC, but then it starts getting a little cool at night.
Yep.
Especially when you wake up, it's one thing to lay under a blanket when you're sleeping, but when you got to get up and do things in the morning, it's like, whoo, it's cold.
Yes.
So if that HVAC system is running overboard, you better get it checked out right now. You do not, especially as it gets colder and colder, you do not want it to crap out.
Oh, no.
No, that is no fun at all. And in fact, I'd imagine if you fix something up instead of just letting a problem fester, it's going to be much less expensive.
Of course. And less likely to break down on the coldest day of the year.
Right. And of course, they can also do a look over of your electrical system, and they specialize in installing Generac generators. So if you want to keep the power on when storms roll through, which they do here in this area, get a Generac generator installed, just flip on like nothing happened. And, don't think of it as just like cost. Like, I'm going to finance how much to put one of these things. No, treat it like an investment.
Oh, definitely.
It truly ups the value of your home. It gives you peace of mind when the storms roll around and roll through the area, but it also is a great investment to up the value of your property. So check out All Pro Heating, Air, and Electrical today. You can always go to allproheatingair.com or give them a call at 301-1961. That's 301-1961. And be sure to tell them that Joey and Eddie, those fellas on the radio, sent you. Now, I love it when folks who have like huge platforms say stuff I've been saying for a while.
Yeah.
Well, because it's not like, oh, I'm right. It's more like, oh, we're all kind of seeing the same thing. So I long have been like, just get, like, we need to, that's why I voted for Vivek Ramaswamy, like 75% headcount reduction.
Yes.
Of the federal government.
Yes.
And it's like, but if you do that, what about all the people that lose jobs? That's just inhumane. It's like, number one, I think all like the 6 or 7 richest counties of the nation, those people will be just fine. Number one.
Mm-hmm.
Number two, it's not like you just kick them in the ass and tell them to go get out of here. I'm not talking about harming anybody. In fact, Elon suggested the idea that I've been talking about a while, and a lot of folks have been talking about. There's ways to do these things.
Sure.
We will reduce a lot of government headcount, but we're going to give, I think, like very long severances, like 2 years or something like that. So, look, just go do something else. Is what it is.
Right.
And you'll get paid for 2 years. And so you got a lot of time to go and figure out something else to do. It's like the point is not to be cruel or to have people not be able to pay their mortgage or anything. It's just that we just have too many people in the government sector, and that they could be more productive elsewhere.
Right.
I gotta go get me a government job so I can get laid off.
Get that
paid for
2 year severance?
Yeah.
Well, and you don't necessarily have to do severance. You could do early retirement.
Yeah,
like if you
cash out,
volunteer.
buyout.
Yeah, exactly. So there's all sorts of ways to do this that be humane, that would make plenty of folks happy. But
kills me though, because when big factories shut down,
yeah,
when chicken plants shut down, nobody
they
gives
really
a
do
crap.
kick you in the backside.
Nobody gives a crap.
Right.
Hey, here you go learn to code.
Right.
But the government, they're going to lose a few jobs. Oh, we should cry. That'd be fine.
So, do you want to hear more about the political entrails from the nerd? You know what I'm talking about. Steve Kornacki
is a nerd.
I want to hear what Kornacki's got to say about all this this polling.
If we just look, we're looking at you at the top of the mountain right now, my friend.
Well, here we go, Rachel. And look, when it comes to the polling right now, I think the safest thing to say is there are some extremely mixed signals that are coming in. You just talked.
Well, that clears it up.
About.
I just get so frustrated. If we do have a Trump blowout,
yeah,
can we call these guys up and say, "Hey, remember those polls you put out? How wrong they
Well,
were."
I just love that analysis because I do the same thing where it's like, well, folks,
it's a CYOA.
We know nothing.
It's a CYO. I'm fixing to say something, but I honestly don't know nothing. We're good. Here we go.
It's like you're the weatherman, and you,
Right.
like, it'd be like Rich Thomas jumped on and go, "Well, folks, the weather outside is weather.
It's weather.
Yeah. So enjoy. We'll see what happens
It's
tomorrow."
weathering.
But at least, Rich Thomas can give some informed forecast and insights. Whereas at this point, this guy's like, well, a lot of mixed signals.
Iowa, obviously, a state Donald Trump won by nearly 10 points the last two elections. Now, at least in that Des Moines Register poll, having Harris slightly ahead. That it comes as this national poll shows Donald Trump, frankly, better positioned nationally than he finished in 2020 or 2016, and frankly, than he polled in either one of those elections, too. Our poll has it tied. Other national polls have it very much in this range of a tied race, maybe Harris by 1 or 2, maybe Trump by 1 or 2. That's a little different, and it leaves open lots of questions about what's going on in the battleground states and perhaps outside of the battleground states. We'll get to that in a minute. But looking inside our NBC poll here, there's the question of enthusiasm, which always gets to the variable of turnout here. These are folks from our poll who rate themselves with the highest level of interest in this election. It is at 77% in our poll. You can see that is down a little bit from 2020. We had historic high turnout in 2020, 160 million voters. This number, too, when you look inside, the lowest levels of high interest are coming from non-white voters, Latino voters, and black voters. Two ways to view that. Obviously, you're talking about traditionally core Democratic constituencies. That could take away from Democratic overall margins with those groups. It could also be trouble for Donald Trump, though, because polling has shown previously him expanding support with non-white voters. If he's starting to lose those potential voters to lack of interest, that could be trouble for his campaign. Then you take a look here at the issues. It really, the climate we're seeing here is what we've seen the whole election. Harris's best advantage by far on the issue of abortion, 20 points over Trump on that. Trump here with the advantage on inflation and cost of living. The other one you don't see here,
Wait, Harris is plus 10 on Bring Country Together?
No.
Are these people high when they take the poll? Like, were they high?
I lean more towards Trump's explanation. They don't really do it. Just fill it out on their gut feeling.
They don't actually conduct the poll. No, and that's Nate Silver
I'm telling you,
who was pretty good on this stuff. It's like, yeah, he's not a pollster, but he understands it, so he can put these statistical models together. He's like, yeah, well, just listen to what the nerd said. He goes, well, some have Trump up 1 or 2. Some have Trump or Kamala up 1 or 2. Some have them tied.
Somebody
it's like,
hadn't put in the work,
you're
man.
all full of crap.
Right. I just have a hard time with it.
Yeah.
And
It's
plus,
such a-
afterwards, we don't ever go back and say, hey, remember this poll? Remember that poll? We all
Right,
kind of
right.
forget that.
All right. Now let's go to, well, the man himself. John
And you
Trump.
gotta- look.
Talking about the stakes.
If I don't win this thing after all this talk, I'm in trouble. Will you please go and vote? I mean, I came here, whatever the hell time it is, who the hell knows? I'm giving you the full bore. You wouldn't let me leave in half an hour. I could have run up here, done it, start screaming, make America great again for 5 or 6 times, and then leave to the cheers of the crowd. I would have been home sleeping right now. I hope to hell that you're going to get your asses out and vote.
Being honest.
Did you all vote? Everybody? I figured. I know these guys voted. But
What a time. What a time to be alive. That was in North Carolina.
Yeah, I think it's, what's his last rally tonight?
Yeah.
Probably. I'm trying to think what his last rally would be, being Trump. Would he go out to the West Coast so he can just keep it going as long as he could?
Maybe.
You know, chasing the sun.
272-9228. Let's go to line 1. You're on there. Who's this?
What's going on, Mr. Clark?
Hey, Duke.
Hey, Duke, what's
I
happening, man?
played Trump
What's
and
on,
you
Mr.
called me
Mr.
immediately.
Mr.
What in the world is this?
Huh?
I played Trump and it's like a Duke call.
Immediately.
I know you. Yeah, you smelt me. You smelt me, boy. Yeah. I need a song played, first of all. Can you play a song for me today? Boy, I love that song.
I don't know. Depends on the song.
I love that song, man, and they played it at the Auburn game after the game. Play that song for me, please.
What song was that?
I'm not going to take it anymore. Not going to take it anymore.
Oh, you a D. Snyder, Twisted Sister fan?
We took it.
Yeah, I love that song right there, boy. I like that song. Play that for Auburn, for the Auburn fans today. Hell, I need that. I need some of that, please.
It's rough. It's rough being an Auburn.
You got to play it right now, but play it before the show's over, please, sir.
Oof.
I don't beg for much. I never begged before. I don't know how to beg. If I knew how to beg, I'd do it, George, but I don't know how.
I
But can you
can't
play
do
for
it,
me?
man. I can't do it. And the YouTube doesn't like it when I do stuff like that.
Put the old cancellation on you. Yep.
Oh, my poor team, boy. But I don't want to talk football today. I just want to get back over here to this election thing. I got a question for y'all now.
Okay, dokie.
If Donnie Boy doesn't win tomorrow, y'all not gonna be rolling your eyes at me or anything, are you? I mean, y'all will still love me, man.
You know that, dude.
Yeah, like, dude, like
I love you.
like
Like
we
the
got
song.
power.
Rolling your eyes at me now.
Like we got power to do any of this. Now, if
I
you
don't
rub it
really
in,
wanna-
if you rub it in,
I ain't rubbing nothing in. Whichever
You're gonna rub it in and get in
I'm
line.
gonna be quiet. No, I'm gonna be quiet for a few days. I'm not gonna say it today because I understand people getting emotional about this thing a little bit more than they need to. But I want to talk to Greg, man. How can I talk to Greg about this thing without?
Good luck.
well,
You know
that's
what I'm
between
talking
you and Greg.
Yeah,
man.
good luck.
I don't know what I'm saying. Me and Greg cool now, but I just want to talk to him about asking would he still be my friend if I don't vote for Trump. Huh?
That's a
Depends
great
on what you
question.
mean by
Yeah.
friend.
I know me and Greg cool. I'm gonna call him just chat with him because people think that me and Greg don't get along, but we just don't talk about things because we both hard-headed and hot-headed. We might go off on each other. So man, I'm gonna find a way to talk to him one day. That's my buddy. I like Greg. So I love it. But anyhow, back to the subject matter at hand, people. What you think, Joey?
What do I think?
Yeah, about this.
No, if I have to go just purely off gut sense, I think Trump's got this thing.
Yeah.
It just, and I was talking to, for instance, I was talking to my brother this morning.
How's your brother?
He was at home with the sick baby.
Oh.
But then, by the way, her name is Lucy. They dressed her up like a goose for
Did they?
Halloween. It's just adorable. Anyway, it's like, yeah, I'm at home with a sick baby. And I'm like, what do you think about this election? And man, it's like he read my mind. He's like, I just can't reward the corporate press and the machine. I think it needs to be Trump. And I think there are a lot of people. There are a lot of people that
Joey,
feel
I gotta
that.
interrupt you. I just interrupt you now. I just thought about something, dude. Was it another AI episode or a little thing going on, a malfunction going on with Trump with the damn microphone, like he was doing something, I don't know, with his head going bobbing up and down. What was that about right there? Talk to me.
I don't know what you're talking about.
The microphone holder, when his head was going back and forth like he was doing something, because he was talking about a guy in the bathroom a few weeks ago, and I don't know, but he's doing something with his head the other day, and I don't know. What was that about?
Don't have a clue.
Hey, I don't see it all, dude. But my point is, I think the way a lot of the media culture is going is we're tired of the old institutions.
No,
and,
you don't know what I'm talking about. You don't know what I'm talking about.
no,
At his
not a
rally
clue.
the weekend. No, at his rally the weekend, he was doing something with the microphone, and then he did something, a motion with his head, like he was doing something, I don't know, some kind of little act with his mouth or something, I don't know. But
hold on, I think I might have found the clip. Or I mean, that might be AI. I don't know. Maybe
they've
actually.
been talking about it and showing it and everything, and
Here, I think I might have found it here.
Kamala did what Kamala always does.
Oh,
Huh.
She just put her head
That was
down
Doug.
and she went to work.
Sorry, that
I
was
thought that was
Doug.
Doug.
Somebody added some work. Somebody added some words to it, probably. But if he was doing something like that, I don't know. The kid was in the stand and all that. I don't know. I don't like that kind of stuff. Too.
Why?
To my taste, I don't know. Maybe everybody laughed.
that-
Everybody in the stands.
So
thought it
that
was
cost
funny, I
you?
guess. I
So
don't
that cost
know.
Trump your vote right there?
Huh?
That cost Trump your vote?
Well, let me see. When did Trump come on the scene? 2016.
Oh, I don't know. He's been on the scene
Something
for
like
a
that.
while.
Yeah, he came on the scene in 2016, and I've been observing him and listening to him for all that time.
So actually, I
Over the
found
years.
the clip that you're talking about. Actually, it's
Yeah,
not Doug again. Here it is. Here's the full context.
But I don't ask for much. I don't ask for much. The only thing I ask for is a good mic. And this is the second time today that this happened. So now if I were the president, and like a dopey guy like this Kelly, the guy's a total moron, and that happened, I'd fire him, and everybody would say, gee, I'm such a bad person. You're not bad. You fire people. When, for instance, the generals that destroyed us in Afghanistan, every one of them should have been fired. Should have been fired.
Yeah.
Yeah, Trump's having to hold the microphone because the microphone holder.
Ah, the holder broke.
I don't think so. Hello? Is that better? Is that better? Is that yes or no? What crap. The only thing I ask for is a mic. You don't have to give me, I don't even need a stage. I don't give a damn. Give me a good mic. And I went through 2 of these today. And it knocks the hell out of your throat. But so far I'm doing okay, right? Okay. Is that better? Yeah. And did you notice I came in today, I said, and this is after 4 of these things. I mean, in all fairness, I'm a human being, right? I come in, and here's the problem. I said, oh man, it's too low. I said, it's too low. So I had to go. Way too low.
Yeah, okay. I see what this is all about. So they
Well,
took
what was that
him.
about all right there, man? Talk to me, baby boy.
He was talking about the mic being too low, and folks are like he was doing something else to the mic stand. It just sounds like more BS.
You saw what I'm talking about, right?
If
Yeah.
you really wanted to, sure.
Well, he had his mouth wide open and had, and I standing over that,
If you're reaching, sure.
But I ain't reaching. I
That's
saw
kinda
that. I sat there and watched the whole thing. What I'm saying, and I saw that part right there, and I looked around at my wife there for a minute, and she looked at me, and you know what I'm saying, and I just. And then
Well,
other
no,
people
Duke,
comment
what-
about the same
what
thing
you-
now. They comment about the same thing.
What
so,
you've
yeah,
brought
I'm
to
not
our
trying to add-
attention is just another political Rorschach test. People see what they want
Ah.
to see.
Well, that's my opinion. What I saw now about
Right.
all of it, everything. That's when I look at stuff and use my own judgment on things in life. Don't go follow a crowd like Lindsey Graham and Ted Cruz and all these cats following behind one man here. I'm my own man. I can use my own common sense. 'Cause I got to set up them. How about that?
And on that note, ta-ta.
See you, Duke.
All right.
Later, man. Really? That's what, that was what was
I had
making the
nothing.
rounds. I'd rather talk about Peanut. Though we had somebody call up, be like, nobody gives a damn about Peanut the squirrel. Well, millions disagree, sir.
Well, you keep neglecting Fred, the raccoon. They killed him too. They took the squirrel and the raccoon.
Damn.
Yeah.
That's just uncalled for.
I just wondered if they'd take him outside and shoot him, or what'd they do?
It's just so. Like, can't we get this thing over with already?
Yeah.
This part of the program brought to you by River Region Contracting. And there at River Region Contracting, Todd Clark and the team, they're ready to help you
Yes, they
with
are.
that
Joey.
roof of yours. They've helped you out a few
They
times.
helped me
right?
out several times. In fact, we got a job going on, I think, this week. They're helping me out again. Got a client that bought a house that needed a roof, and after closing, the the sellers were good enough to give them money for a roof, so they'll be putting it on. They're great, dude. They're absolutely great. I called them up with the situation. They went out there, took a look at the roof, talked to my client, got everything squared away. Smooth transaction.
So, folks, whether it's an asphalt or a metal roof, they can help you out. And, well, they show up on time. They get the job done well. And their inspections and estimates, always free.
That's right.
And they're a team of insurance specialists, so they can walk you through that claims process. Should they find a problem, your insurance will cover. They make it so easy.
They do. They really do.
And they're not the type of guys that go, hey, go away, kid, you're bothering me. They actually like enjoying and educating their customers on this. Here's your problem. Here's exactly how we're going to
Well,
fix
they
it.
want you to know what they're doing.
Exactly. Can you believe there are other places that kind of like, you know.
Not only do I believe it, Joey, I've seen them before.
Oh, I know. You probably lived it.
Mm-hmm.
See, I'll check out River Region Contracting today. That number, 356-8635. That's 356-8635. And be sure to tell them that Joey and Eddie, those fellas on the radio, sent you.
He may not know whether he's coming or going, but whether you're going to work or coming home, Greg Budell is there. Mornings, 6 till 9, and afternoons, 3 till 6. Only on News Talk 93.1 FM, WACV.
Hi there, I'm Kim Williams with Alabama Home Mortgage. For years, I've been asking you to call me at Alabama Home Mortgage because there is a difference in mortgage companies. When you call Alabama Home Mortgage, you will immediately see the difference in pricing. Not only do we offer the most competitive rates, but our closing costs rank among the lowest in the industry. How do we do it? Because we can. We do not have the overhead that big banks and lenders do. Those big banks and lenders have big expenses. And what do? They pass those expenses along to you. Meanwhile, here at Alabama Home Mortgage, we receive wholesale rates which result in big savings that we pass along to you. Don't pay more for less. Give Alabama Home Mortgage a call at 567-4223. That's 567-4223. Or visit us online at myalabamahomemortgage.com to complete an application on your time. Our rates and pricing are just one difference that sets us apart from the rest. It's not just a slogan. Call Alabama Home Mortgage because, folks, there is a difference in mortgage companies. NMLS 1586-36-8, Equal Housing Lender.
For too long, Alabama's statewide news companies have shamed us for our conservative Christian values. Alabama deserves a news company that cherishes our culture, a company that isn't bought and paid for by the powers that be. 1819 News is that company. Run by Alabamians for Alabamians, 1819 News celebrates what is good and beautiful about our state, while exposing those who work against our values in secret. Just go to 1819news.com to learn more. Subscribe to our newsletter. That's 1819news.com.
This is your roving reporter, and today I am talking with an elk. Hey man, Mr. Elk, I was just wondering, what do elk do to take care of their money? Well, like most smart folks, we call David Erdit. You mean Alabama's most favorite asset preservationist? That's him, man. We call him up at 334-279-7431 or 205-479-0839. I see. Yes, he is our preferred money man. The money man with the money plan. You've been paying attention. Well, could you give us those numbers one more time? 334-279-7431 or 205-479-0839. And I just want to try to give you a heads up, man. Oh, what's that? I'm not an elk. Not an elk, huh? Well, then, pray tell, what are you? Knights of Columbus. I am not even going to make a comment. Well, the baby liked it.
This hour of News and Views is brought to you by our good friends at Cole Plumbing, 279-8919. Cole Plumbing is number one in the number two business. You don't have to dig a hole. They have proprietary pipelining technology. Ask them about their tankless water heaters. Remember, when you have trouble with your bowl, call on Cole.
Rich Thomas Weather, a service of Wiley Sanders Truck Lines, where dump truck drivers are in demand. Wiley Sanders is on the grow. We need dump truck drivers now. Call 855-77-9785.
Hi, everybody. This week has started off dry, but we do have rain returning to our forecast soon. Tonight, cloudy, mild, overnight low temperature 65. Tomorrow, election day, partial sunshine, high in the low to mid 80s. Risk of scattered showers holding off till after midnight on Tuesday night. Then scattered showers at times Wednesday and Thursday. Some much-needed raindrops, we hope. Still warm with highs in the lower 80s. From the Blue Water Weather Center, this is Rich Thomas.
CB&S Bank has a long history of stability and a legacy of serving our community's needs for generations since we began in 1906. At CB&S Bank, we're here for you. All loans subject to credit approval, member FDIC, and equal housing lender.
We get Montgomery talking 24 hours a day. The River Region's most trusted voice. News Talk 93.1 FM, WACV.
Joey Clark.
I should have brought this up earlier. But you know what? I really am checked out. I'm like, let's get this thing over with.
I'm right there with you, bro.
Oh. But get a load of this headline.
Okay.
Maybe should have said that a different way. Dear Jane, my wife says she will put me on a quote-unquote sex ban if I vote for Trump.
What?
Dear Jane, my wife and I have been together for 3 years and married for just over 1. We have a lot in common, except when it comes to politics. We live in Pennsylvania, so we know plenty of Democrats and Republicans and everything in between. Anarcho-capitalist for the win. I enjoy having a broad range of friends, regardless of where they fall on the political spectrum. I've always known that my wife is liberal, but it has never really been an issue, mostly because we met soon after the last election. Donald Trump had disappeared and she was content with a Biden presidency. But I have been an avid Trump supporter since he ran in 2016. Oh no. When it became clear that Trump would be the Republican nominee this time around, the political differences between us started to show. We see eye to eye in most situations, but when it comes to Trump, she's extremely set in her ways. She constantly says how much she hates him whenever he's on the news and repeatedly asks me how I can possibly support him. We had to turn off the debate between Trump and Kamala Harris halfway through because we couldn't stop arguing. I don't think our marriage would have survived a second debate. So as the election approaches, we've decided to stop talking about politics altogether. We've stopped watching the news when we're both at home. We don't discuss what we are reading. This new dynamic was working quite well until this week when my wife declared, the morning after a particularly steamy bedroom session the night before, she will put me on a sex ban if I vote for Trump. She says that because the Pennsylvania race is so tight, my vote alone could change the whole outcome of the election, and she refuses to have sex with me unless I vote for Harris, or not at all. Obviously, I am not going to vote for Harris. I'm desperate for a second Trump presidency, but I also couldn't live life without our sex. How can I explain to my wife that I can't change my beliefs so easily? From Lonely Trumper.
Really?
What would you do?
All right, hot take. My hot take is, me personally, I don't know if I would do this, but my advice would be, if you don't want to lose half your stuff, go ahead and lie to your wife. Tell her, yes, you're going to vote for Trump or Kamala. But also double down on that and go ahead and negotiate for some more stuff. Say, I'll do the Kamala thing, honey.
Right.
I'm willing to put all my standards and morals aside for this great stuff we're having, but I need a little extra on the. Chances are, if you put enough freakiness out there, she'll crack until you just go away.
Or it could be like, you know what? I'm putting my foot down.
Yeah.
Unless you let me wear this dark MAGA hat while we do it, I'm putting you on a ban.
The fact that he wrote this letter tells me that he has never put his foot down ever before.
Yeah, it's pretty
So
bad.
I would just go with the lie and negotiate.
You know, it's, you know, a year's a good run. Get out of there, bro.
Nah, it's too much invested, Joey.
A year?
He's probably got her on her 401k, probably got some life insurance.
Yeah, if there are kids involved, I would say, you know, stick it out. But you just say lie. It's such a thing called a secret ballot.
Thank you. Roll with the secret ballot and come home the champion and have all the sex you want. Because she's going to cut that off too. She's eventually going to say, it wasn't worth it when Kamala loses. So get it quickly because it's probably going to come to a screeching halt.
No, I seriously, why is it always the women threatening the bans? Why can't the men be like, you ain't getting this?
Well, here,
This
Joey,
sweet magic, unless you let me do it with you with the lights on, with my MAGA hat on.
Because women know that men are pigs.
Yeah.
And if that man doesn't want to do it, well, that other man will.
I'm sure you could go to a Trump rally and meet a nice lady.
Oh, I bet you could. I've seen some really nice ladies.
Isn't that a heck of a rom-com right there? I want to see that movie.
Well, there was the guy that does all these kind of surveys, public surveys. He brought a Trump supporter and a Biden supporter. He's tried for 3 months. He brought them together over the weekend. I thought they might have that. Nope, they lasted about 15 minutes and they started arguing. And I hated it because they were young and there was potential there, but.
Yeah, and by the way, Jane goes into some pseudoscience. Well, it's never good. Ultimatums are never good for relationships. It's like, yeah, thank you for living in the real world.
Sometimes you got to lay an ultimatum down just to see where you stand.
No, but this goes back to what my uncles and many people, men in my family said, just, yes, dear, you're right.
Yeah, lie.
And then do what you need to do.
Yeah. Especially now, it's secret ballot. There's no way to get busted.
Yeah, but what if the one rule is don't ever lie to me?
You got to cross your fingers behind your back or something. I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah, but aren't you going to feel guilty later, no matter how steamy
No,
it
because
gets?
it's marriage. And marriage, I hate to tell people, but there's lots of little lies that goes on in the marriage.
No, and there's some saying that's marriage-ending manipulation and abuse. And he ain't that far into the relationship. It's like, get out of there.
Yeah, but everybody's so worked up right now. Just lie.
No, honestly, if somebody told me I'm not going to sleep with you because of who you vote for, it's like, okay, I don't want to sleep with you. Go away, you crazy
Not everybody
witch.
got those kind of options, Joey. Maybe this is his first and only. And, that's why he's got to lay it out there like this.
Celibacy is a virtue. If you're not willing to be celibate, if you're going to be led around by your...
Not everybody can do that. Not everybody has self-control like you, Joey.
It's not like I'm going to blackmail myself. Yeah, good point. Good point, Eddie. Hey, this part of the program appropriately brought to you by Montgomery Men's Health. What that guy needs is some testosterone boost.
No doubt, Joey.
And there at Montgomery Men's Health, they can help you out, knowing whether or not you are dealing with low testosterone. Not only is it great for helping things in the bedroom, but general life, quality of life. So if you're lacking motivation, energy, and drive, including a decrease in your sex drive, seeing unwanted weight gain, loss of muscle mass, and you're not just physically tired, you're mentally tired as well. It's like you're walking through your life in a fog, trudging through some thick mud.
Yep.
Well, knowing whether you have low T is huge in combating some of these issues. And the providers there at Montgomery Men's Health will conduct a testosterone-focused lab workup plus a consultation for only $99. And Montgomery Men's Health has low T treatments that can truly change lives. Men can experience higher energy, better gains in the gym. Brother. Better mental clarity, improved sleep patterns, a faster metabolism. You usually even notice an increased libido. And you can actually book the same day that you call. That number, 440-3663. That's 440-3663. Or go to MontgomeryMen'sHealth.com to book your appointment today.
Want to carry News Talk in your pocket? Download the News Talk 93.1 app from the App Store. Available on iPhone and Android. Never miss a moment. Download now.
Is your business feeling the heat of cyber attacks? Tired of worrying about ransomware, data breaches, downtime, and employee mistakes? GTI Managed IT Solutions has been your trusted partner since 1999, safeguarding and supporting businesses like yours from the ever-evolving threats in the digital world. GTI, your peace of mind is guaranteed. Call us today at 819-4650 or visit gtinow.com.
This is Jim Smith with Adams Drugs. Adams Drugs has been advertising with Blue Water Broadcasting for over a decade and have gone from 7 stores to 12 stores. We attribute our success for what they've done for us. Thank you, Blue Water Broadcasting.
Radio reaches over 90% of everyone in the river region. Shouldn't your ads be out there where your customers are? Call us to find out more. Blue Water Broadcasting. Local folks helping local business.
This hour of News and Views is brought to you by our good friends at Cole Plumbing, 279-8919. Cole Plumbing is number 1 in the number 2 business. You don't have to dig a hole. They have proprietary pipelining technology. Ask them about their tankless water heaters. Remember, when you have trouble with your bowl, call on Cole.
If it concerns your community, you'll hear about it on News Talk 93.1. News Talk 93.1 FM WACV.
Joey Clark.
Welcome back. It's good the phones talk to Ray Bowles from Prattville Carpet. Hey, Ray, how you doing?
Good. How about you guys?
Oh, we're all right.
I'm just sitting here filling up the truck. Remember why I'm voting tomorrow?
Yeah, buddy.
Yeah. Awful. Just awful. Don't even want to look at those numbers. Keep rolling by so fast. You remember when we were kids, you could 75 cents a gallon?
Oh, yeah.
You just cruise all day long. They had a part-time job at Winn-Dixie and could more than afford to have the gas and play and do what we wanted to back in the day.
Mm-hmm.
Our kids won't never know how good we had it.
Nope.
Yep, no cell phones, no tracking them, no nothing. Our rule at home, Dad just said, hey, because Friday nights we'd work till 1 in the morning. And he's like, look, I'm not waiting up on y'all. Y'all just be home before I wake up.
Did you make it every time, though, Ray? Did you make it every time?
Mama was up reading her Bible one time about 4 in the morning. And we come strolling in. We didn't do anything wrong. We were riding around with our buddies, laughing and talking. And he said, hey, honey, did y'all get off late? We said, yes, ma'am. I felt really guilty about lying to her with her reading the Bible. I remember that.
Still some
Yeah. Oh, that would hurt. But hey, listen. I know tomorrow's a big day. Let's get out and vote. The way you're wrong with this, remember, we're all humans and we all love each other. Come Wednesday, it's still the sun's going to rise and we're still going to be here.
That's right.
Here, here.
And if you need a floor, call us 285-8117. We'll come out and give you that pre-measurement.
Just that simple, folks. Again, that number 285-8117. That's 285-8117. And when you call them, be sure to tell them that you heard Ray on the radio with Joey and Eddie.
Guys, have a great day.
See you, buddy.
Too, so we got a little time left here. Apparently, there's a new trend about make six-packs great again.
Six-packs of what?
I think they're, well, here's J.D. Vance discussing the matter.
This is a six-pack under the leadership of Kamala Harris. This is a six-pack under the leadership of Donald J. Trump. Let's make America great again.
All right, then.
That's pretty good right there.
Yeah, that's a pretty big six-pack right there. I'm impressed.
Yeah.
I'm not usually all that impressed. Guy showing off a six-pack, I'm like, who cares about that stuff on your belly?
Did you watch him with Joe Rogan?
Yeah.
You watched the whole thing?
Thought he was great.
All right. So I haven't watched the whole thing. I've clipped it. I got so excited when I saw the Fetterman was going to be on there. I literally got up the other morning to watch it.
Mm-hmm.
And like I said, I got so ticked off, I just had to turn it off. And so I had to wait a few days before I go back. Nothing against Joe. He was trying with the guy, but man, it angered me that we have somebody like that that's too close to the button.
Yeah.
I mean, he can't even put a sentence together.
Yeah. But ain't that America? Reflects a lot of our population.
I agree. Not in a good way.
That's
That's even more upsetting.
I want a Congress of John Fettermans and George Santos.
I would.
In fact, I want a combination. I want to see Fetterman in a dress stealing puppies.
Well, that's going to be an ugly dude right there.
Ain't that America? Well, we're out of time. Tomorrow's election day.
Yeah, man.
And as Samuel said
Big
in
game.
Jurassic Park,
hold on to your butts.
Who knows what's coming next? But I do know who's next after us. Greg Bedell,
That's
Happy
right.
Hour. Rosie Brock, they're next. Y'all stay tuned.
Broadcasting from the Riverside Chevrolet Master Control Center, this is WACV Cusana, News Talk 93.1